Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Dragon Ball Saiyan Knows Martial Arts. Chapter 71. As Supreme Kai, Layla is the creator god who created the planet and possesses powerful creative power. Although he has fallen now, his divine power has not disappeared. Dongwu did not underestimate Layla, but he also did not think that she could exceed the combat power of 50 billion. You are very confident. It's really amazing for a mortal to have such combat power as you. Layla looked at Dongwu's transformation into Super Saiyan and remained calm, as if Dongwu's combat power was not 50 billion, but 500. However, you should not underestimate the power of God. After saying these words, Layla showed a rare look of ferocious anger. She used to be the noblest god in the universe, but she was defeated by Majin Buu and almost died. This gave her an obsessive pursuit of power. She believed that power is the truth. What is the apex god of the universe without the highest power? She became possessed by this and degenerated into the Layla she is today. Therefore, it has great power over mortals. It's the thing she hates the most. She believes that God is noble, God should be above mortals, and mortals cannot have power beyond God. Therefore, when Dongwu showed super strength, she had decided to eliminate Wu's hidden danger, 26 inches drink. West King Kai Layla let go of her power and released her energy without reservation. Darkness and holiness are combined, evil and justice are united, and the breath reveals incomparable evil. Originally, God's power was completely restrained, and other gods of the same level could not feel it. Even if he is much stronger than her, as long as he is still a mortal, he cannot sense it. But Layla released her breath at this time, and Dongwu felt Layla's fighting power. It actually has more than 60 billion combat power, which is stronger than my Super Saiyan transformation state. No wonder Dapora is so afraid of Layla. The gap between the two is so big that Dapora doesn't even have a chance to fight back. I'm so lucky to have escaped. Dongwu took a deep breath and was shocked by Layla's fighting power. At first, he thought that Layla was just a little more powerful than East King Kai Shin, surpassing the newly transformed Super 2, at most about 10 billion. Unexpectedly, Layla's combat effectiveness was so high. Is it really like what netizens said in the previous life, being possessed by a demon is 10 times stronger, and whitewashing is 3 times weaker? Dongwu was speechless. This is too up. But Dongwu's guess was really good. When Layla was Supreme Kai, her power was only a little stronger than East King Kai's Shin. At most, it's like 7 to 8 billion. However, when her temperament changed drastically and she became completely possessed, the combination of good and evil, and the union of gods and demons, caused her strength to skyrocket in an instant, reaching what it is today. That's why Kurd and Frieza were called failures by her, because they couldn't meet her requirements at all. Frieza originally had great potential, but it was a pity that he died too early. It made me have to create new thugs. How about Dongwu? Have you felt the power of this god? I have also heard of you and know that you are good. Unfortunately, the power of gods is not comparable to that of you mortals. Feeling this powerful force, West King Kai Layla closed her eyes, intoxicated, extremely confident. At the same time, I feel that my choice to enter the devil's path is extremely correct. Not bad, really good. Dongwu also feels the pressure. Although he can defeat Layla if he transforms into a Super Saiyan or a Mysterious Saiyan, Dongwu doesn't want to crush his opponent with strength every time. What should I do if I encounter an evenly matched enemy and I can't crush him? So Dongwu wants to increase his combat experience with opponents of the same level, and also wants to see Layla's combat ability. He is not planning to transform into the Super Saiyan or the Mysterious Saiyan just yet. If it really doesn't work in the end, it's never too late to change. Boom! The battle started without warning, and Dongwu took the lead in launching the attack. With tens of billions of combat power, the aftermath of the explosion is extremely powerful. If it were not in outer space but on the Earth, if two people's Qigong bombs hit anyone on the Earth, they could directly turn the Earth into a thing of the past. If Dongwu takes action, Layla will naturally not be beaten passively. Powerful evil power, sacred and depraved aura faced Dongwu's counterattack. Dongwu's elbow collided with West King Kai Layla's elbow, and the brilliant brilliance flashed away. But the impact was very large, and the surrounding light was distorted. Snapped. The two retreated, but Dongwu clearly had the upper hand, making Dongwu look solemn. And he discovered something shocking. Lila's body was no worse than his, and even stronger. As expected of a god, his divine body is indeed powerful. Dongwu had to admire him, because his body had been strengthened by the 9th level of Longxiang Boruo Gong, and he was confident that he had no opponent among mortals. But when facing Layla, his physical strength was not as good as it was, which shows how powerful the divine body is. At the same time, Dongwu had to sigh, God is indeed a creature that is superior to mortals. He has some unparalleled natural advantages. Even if the power of gods is not as good as that of mortals, it is not comparable to mortals in many places. Not to mention the long and enviable lifespan, just the divine power and rules to control are beyond the reach of mortals. Coupled with his naturally powerful divine body, he is indeed loved by the universe. However, this is exactly what Dongwu needs. He hasn't had a worthy opponent in too long. The last time was a few years ago, when he fought against the frozen demon Labish. At that time, he hadn't transformed into Super Saiyan yet, and Rabish had absorbed Lex's power, so they were basically evenly matched. Of course, Rabbi Shi's strength is slightly stronger than Dongwu, but Dongwu's body is stronger than Rabbi Shi. A battle between two people can be said to be. After that, even Brawly couldn't put so much pressure on Dongwu. After all, Brawly was mentally disturbed at the time and fought solely on instinct. Now, I finally met an opponent who completely surpassed me in strength and body, but the gap was not big. Dongwu's whole body was full of fighting spirit, and his blood was boiling. On this side, the battle between Dongwu and Layla started. On the other side, Dapra also stopped the monsters Yizhe and Pui who wanted to help, and Tawa also entangled Babidi. The battle scene was very chaotic for a while, everyone was looking for their opponent. The battle between magic, energy and body is constantly unfolding in the outer space of this empty universe. Your opponent is me, don't even think about intervening in the battle over there. Dapra is very strong. With his superb combat power against Yego and Pui who are not as good as Frieza, he can completely crush and kill them instantly. However, due to various considerations, he just continued to beat the two people instead of killing them. Little girl, you and Dapora escaped from me for 3 years. Where will you run today? Babidi was stopped by Tova, and the two started fighting directly. However, the battle between Tova and Babidi is very difficult. Both of them are proficient in dark magic, and the battle scene is very strange. If Tova created Mira decades later and understood the power of time and space, he would definitely be able to kill Babidi instantly. But obviously today's Tova does not have that kind of strength, and the battle with Babidi is obviously weaker. Boom! Layla used the special ability of her God Supreme Kai to cause a lot of trouble to Dongwu. This time, Layla unexpectedly used instant transmission behind Dongwu, and blasted Dongwu away with a Qigong bomb. Ah! Dongwu screamed in pain, his skin and flesh were burned red by the Qigong bombs, and he was also blown far away by the power of the Qigong bombs. Without paying attention, Dongwu suffered a big loss. Come again. Dongwu took off his upper body clothes and rushed towards West King Kai Layla again. Dongwu rushed towards Layla in an instant, but this time Layla chose to give in. He did not continue fighting with Dongwu, but stopped far away. Dongwu was stunned, a little confused about Layla's thoughts. Dongwu, although you are very powerful, you can also see that I am stronger than you. Faced with Dongwu's doubts, Layla smiled slightly. Although he didn't know what Layla wanted to do, Dongwu nodded along with her words to see what she wanted to say. Although Dongwu can defeat Layla in any form of Chuan-Chao or secret tournament, Dongwu obviously has no such plan now. Yes, you are indeed a little stronger than me. Dongwu admitted simply. Okay, since you agree, I have a suggestion for you to consider. Layla smiled sweetly and charmingly, making people feel like spring breeze. And this smile carries the confidence that everything is under control. Tell me about it, Dongwu said without comment, tilting his head. As long as you follow me, I can transform you to be more powerful. Then we can rule the world together, and I can make you equal to me. Layla said very confidently with her hands behind her back. She thought she had made a very good suggestion and was confident that Dongwu would definitely agree. She speculated about Dongwu with her own thoughts, thinking that no one would be unmoved when faced with this proposal. Rule the world, the supreme authority. In addition, Dongwu can transform himself, giving Dongwu even more power. What reason does Dongwu have for not being moved? It's a pity that she is not Dongwu and doesn't know what he wants. Dongwu is not her either, without her ambition to rule the universe. Therefore, Dongwu simply refused. I don't think so. I can cultivate my own strength. I don't want the people you transform to be either humans or ghosts. As for ruling the universe, I'm not interested. If that's what you're proposing, then there's no need to say anything. What? You actually refused? Don't you want to rule the universe and have supreme power? Layla was dumbfounded. She could not imagine that someone would actually face such temptation and... Seeing Dongwu nod again, Layla became angry and said, in this case, anyone who dares to reject me will die. It's useless to talk, come on. Dongwu rushed to Layla again. Layla was already furious, and now she was even more furious when she saw Dongwu rushing towards her. Since you reject me, I will kill you. Take your blood and cultivate a more powerful war slave. Layla said angrily while rushing towards Dongwu. Her words made Dongwu's heart tremble, and he suddenly thought of what Layla did in the original anime. She first created Frieza, but after Frieza was defeated, she considered him a failure. Later, he tried every means to get close to Son Goku and stole Son Goku's blood. The so-called Son Jaiko was created from this blood gene. After that, he brought Jaiko to Earth in an attempt to defeat Son Goku and other warriors to rule the universe. It can be said that this is a woman who created a man who went crazy. Note, this man was not created by that man, but was created and cultivated with genes, similar to the birth of Cell. HMPH, then let me see what you can do. Dongwu narrowed his eyes and said coldly. Okay, then I'll show you what a god can do. Layla and Dongwu quickly approached, but just when the two were about to come into contact, Dongwu suddenly found that he couldn't move. Hey. This is Supreme Kai's ability, the body holding technique. As long as the strength is not too much higher than mine, you can't break free. Layla leaned into Wu's ear and whispered softly. Then Dongwu was attacked continuously by her, and finally kicked away. On the way, he was hit with another Qigong bomb by Layla. This combination of punches made Dongwu dizzy. Dongwu then remembered that West King Kai Layla, as the highest god in the universe, has many unique abilities. The body-holding technique is one of them. In the original work, East King Kai Shin once used it on Son Gohan. At that time, although Son Gohan's strength had declined due to years of neglect in cultivation. But Chao Er's combat power is not adulterated, and his strength is definitely much stronger than Shin. However, he was still immobilized by East King Kai. Okay, very good ability. Dongwu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and sighed that Layla was indeed a god. She had many special abilities and was hard to guard against. Kiki, it's still early, I still have a lot of abilities. After Layla finished speaking, she suddenly created a spear out of thin air behind Dongwu, and then stabbed Dongwu with a wave of her hand. Creating things out of thin air is an ability that Supreme Kai, as the god of creation, must master. In the original book, East King Kai Shin also used this ability. He once made Kassin steel, the hardest metal in the universe, and broke the Supreme Kai sword. Dongwu shouted loudly and left the spot instantly, dodging the assassin with spears. This old witch who has lived for millions of years really has many tricks. Dongwu felt depressed. Such a battle would be very frustrating. Boy, how dare you call me an old witch? It's unforgivable, it's unforgivable. As soon as Dongwu had the idea, Layla yelled angrily over there. Any woman will be angry when she hears the old witch's comments, but the more beautiful she is, the more she cares. West King Kai Layla is a god, but as a goddess she is not exempt from vulgarity. Lila's roar made Dongwu pale, remembering Lila's other ability, mind reading. In Lila's animation works, the Earth Warriors suffered a lot due to West King Kai Lila's mind reading ability. You brat, go to hell, go to hell. The angry Layla gave up her superpower and stepped forward to fight Dongwu personally. The powerful force erupted unbridled, punching Dongwu one after another. For a while, Dongwu was really in a hurry and was tortured quite a lot. However, this kind of battle is what Dongwu needs. If Layla uses her powers, Dongwu will really have a headache and feel aggrieved. Of course, Dongwu obviously forgot something. After using the same moves and powers on pure blood Saiyan's body once, it will be ineffective the second time. Son Goku and Vegeta both said it in the original book, but I forgot which episode. Boom. After being tortured for a while, Dongwu got used to Lila's rhythm, fought with her and quickly retreated. Hey, it really hurts. After staying away from Layla, Dongwu grinned and rubbed the place where he was beaten. However, at this time, he was covered in bruises and it hurt when rubbed here and there. Although the injury was not serious, it really hurt. Well, it's not too late to consider my suggestion. Looking at Dongwu who was covered with bruises, Layla said with confidence. Indeed, just looking at the current record, Lila's chances of winning are indeed not low. Humph, that's impossible. Keep going if you have the guts. If you don't drink the toast, I'll have to beat you to death. Layla is no longer the kind-hearted Supreme Kai, but an evil and cruel transformation maniac. In response to Dongwu's repeated rejections, she did not intend to persuade him anymore, and made up her mind to kill Dongwu, and then use his blood genes to create War Good King Good to fight slaves. Bring it on. Dongwu and Layla fought together again, but Dapora next to him had other thoughts. It seems that Dongwu has little chance of winning. I can't stay here anymore. Otherwise, I will definitely not be able to run away after Dongwu's defeat. I have to leave first while Dongwu can still cling to this woman. Thinking of this, Dapora's eyes turned cold and showed a fierce expression. I saw him opening his hands, with a Qigong bomb in each hand, and fired it at Puyi and Warcraft Yi Zhe. In an instant, the two powerful warriors were beaten into ashes in the universe. After taking a deep look at the battle between Dongwu and Layla, Dapora flew into the depths of the universe without looking back. He didn't even care about Tawa and ran away alone. Because he knew that although Babiti's strength was not good, his magic was still quite weird. Although you can kill him, it will take some effort. Time is life, so he chose to take the first step. Dongwu and Tawa, who were fighting, were immersed in the battle and did not notice that Dapora had escaped. Dapora escaped, and only Tova and Dongwu were left on the field to fight against Babiti and Layla. The battle scene between Babiti and Tawa was very strange. They were all performing various magics from a distance, and there was no close combat at all. But the battle scene between Dongwu and Layla was much more exciting, with various moves and Qigong bombs flying everywhere. There are explosions everywhere, and the fist-to-fist combat makes people's blood boil. Dongwu has been beaten all over the head by Layla, but in Super Saiyan form, there is indeed a gap between him and Layla. His energy is not as good as Lila's, his body is not as good as Lila's, and his fighting skills and realm are also inferior to Lila's, plus Lila's mind-reading ability from time to time. Dongwu was suppressed in all directions. This was his worst battle. It was impossible for Dongwu to win. At least, it's impossible without changing form. But if you transform into Super Saiyan 2, or transfer to Super Saiyan and Secret Saiyan, or even Super Saiyan 2 and Secret Saiyan 2, it would be too much beyond Layla and would not have the effect of training, so Dongwu has been gritting his teeth and persevering. Ha ha ha, you, go to hell. Layla knocked Dongwu away again, then quickly formed a ki blast in her hand and blasted it at Dongwu. Supreme Kai Magic Cannon. The shining Qigong cannon dragged its long tail and rushed towards Dongwu. The gray-white light, the sacred and dark Qigong cannon carried the aura of death, making Dongwu feel his hair trembling all over. Danger, extremely dangerous. Under the crisis, Dongwu had to transform into Super Saiyan 2. In an instant, bright lightning surrounded Dongwu, and his power doubled instantly. Go back. Dongwu used the gravity light kill cannon, a move specially designed for dealing with waves. Dongwu, who transformed into Super Saiyan 2, is already much more powerful than Layla in combat. The gravity light killing cannon is specially prepared for waves. So when Dongwu's gravity light killing cannon met with Lila's Supreme Kai magic cannon, there wasn't much stalemate at all, and they were pushed back directly. The powerful ki blast goes straight towards Lyra. How is it possible? How is it possible to improve so much in an instant? Layla was frightened. She could not defeat such fighting power. She instantly thought of running away, but she ran out of time. You must block this move to buy yourself time to escape. This is the only way. Layla gritted her teeth and instantly created a thick layer of Kassin steel around herself, and then used the rules mastered by Supreme Kai to prepare a protective shield. Boom. The moment Layla arranged the Cassin steel, Ki Blast arrived in front of her. The thick outer layer of Cassin steel didn't last long at all, and was broken almost in a breath. But this also bought Layla a certain amount of time, allowing her to successfully arrange the protective shield. Boom. The power of rules is still relatively strong, and Dongwu's Ki Blast failed to break it. Although the protective shield was crumbling and covered with cracks, it still remained intact. The rules controlled by the gods in the Dragon Ball world are not very powerful. Maybe this is the unique setting of the Dragon Ball world. However, rules are rules after all. Only by being able to block Supreme Kai's full attack can it be used as Supreme Kai's means of protection. Although Dongwu's power exceeds that of Supreme Kai, it has been weakened a lot after being blocked by the thick Cassin steel. So much so that it failed to break the rule shield. Call. Layla breathed a sigh of relief, but what followed was strong exhaustion, and she gasped for breath. Just now, she was so afraid that the protective shield would be shattered, so all her energy and strength was used to maintain the protective shield. It was a desperate move, and if the shield was shattered, she would be facing Ki Blast directly. Now it seems that the protective shield of rules is still quite strong. Layla, you can't win in my state. Go to hell. Now that he has transformed into Super Saiyan 2, Dongwu decided to kill Layla in one go. This person may be more harmful than Majin Buu. Not weak in strength, millions of years of knowledge and experience, coupled with the attributes of a transformation madman, it is simply a cancer in the universe. In Lila's anime, he finally created Jaiko, a genetically modified man who could rival over 10,000 people. Jaiko can be said to be Saiyan, after all, he was created from Son Goku's blood genes. But it has been transformed and is quite different from Saiyan. However, no matter what, there is no doubt about the strength of Super Series 5. Dongwu doesn't know what kind of realm Super Saiyan 5 is, how it is different from Super Saiyan God in Dragon Ball Super, and what the strength comparison is. But there is one thing, it is definitely many times stronger than the top 3 in the Super League. Hoo-hoo. Layla gasped violently, but the worried look disappeared from her face. She looked at Dongwu and showed a confident smile. Dongwu, CGDE, you are indeed very powerful. Even a god like me is no match for you. But you want to kill me. That's impossible, Layla said firmly. It fully shows his confidence. Yeah, Dongwu smiled mockingly. He couldn't think of any other trump cards that Layla could use to fight against him. Unless Jaiko arrives now and has the strength in the anime. Otherwise, Layla has no power to fight against herself. Are you trying to say, why should I fight against you? Layla asked, but she secretly cursed this guy for being so powerful. My mind-reading skills were affected, and my success rate was pitifully low. It's really abominable. Not bad, Dongwu didn't deny it, she wanted to see what other tricks Layla had. Yes, you think right. I really don't have the power to fight you, but, Layla said with a strange smile, and then used instant transmission to come to Babidi, and grabbed Babidi. He laughed happily and said, I don't need to fight you, I can calmly leave the madness. Really, I know that as Supreme Kai, you can instant transmission. But I forgot to tell you, I can also instant transmission. And I move based on chi. As long as you are still in this universe, I can find you. Of course, Dongwu said this was a bit bragging. Because Layla is Supreme Kai, if she sincerely restrains her aura, Dongwu won't be able to feel it. However, Dongwu just wanted to deceive her and let her choose to fight to the end. Unfortunately, again, Dongwu is not Layla. He didn't know Lila's cards. Oh, it's quite troublesome. But you forgot one thing. Layla raised her palm, and a green time ring was on her finger, glowing emerald green. You forgot that I come from a fragmented universe. I have a time ring that can go back to my universe. Ha ha ha, Layla laughed crazily. Goodbye Dongwu, I will kill you next time we meet. The green light of the time ring flashed, and a black hole-like hole appeared behind her, and then she and Babidi entered the black hole. Okay, I really didn't expect that. But you laughed so easily. Dongwu secretly hated it, he really didn't expect this. In fact, it's not that he didn't expect it, but that he hadn't seen the plot behind Dragon Ball Super Golden Frieza. If he sees the plot of Zamasu, he will understand the effect of the time ring and take precautions. But regretting now is of no use, and Tao next to her is a little confused. However, Dongwoo obviously won't let Layla go too easily. Penetrating light killing cannon. Dongwoo. The moment the two of them entered the time cave and the cave had not yet closed, a ki blast blasted in. Then the hole gradually narrowed. Ah, Dongwoo, I won't let you go. The moment the cave entrance disappeared, a scream and a vicious threat came from the other side. However, Dongwoo doesn't care. Now that West King Kai Layla is no longer his opponent, the gap will only get bigger and bigger. What's more, she still has a more powerful transformation that she hasn't used yet. Does West King Kai want to compete with her? Dongwoo said that she was overthinking it. West King Kai and Babidi escaped, leaving only Dongwoo, who regretted not being able to kill West King Kai and a confused and ignorant Tawa. They escaped, Tawa said blankly, as if she hadn't gotten over the accident yet. That cute appearance made Dongwoo sigh. That ugly guy Dapwar actually has such a beautiful and lovely sister. Is he really his biological child? But Dongwoo has no idea about Tawa, even though Tawa is really beautiful. Having Dongla alone is enough to give him a headache, and with the number 18 in his mind, Dongwoo feels that if he provokes a woman again, he will probably hang himself because he is too long to live. Yes, it's just a pity that I couldn't kill Layla. I don't know how much trouble this woman will cause. Dongwoo nodded and sighed. Dongwoo didn't know what to say to Tawa. Dapwara ran away and abandoned her. Such a beautiful woman is really a bit pitiful. However, Dongwoo had no intention of taking care of the other party. This is not Dongwoo's hypocrisy. If he really meets a woman who is attracted to her, Dongwoo will not hesitate and try every means to pursue her. After all, with the influence of traditional culture and modern internet, there is no idea that women must be monogamous. What's more, there is no law of monogamy in the Dragon Ball world. However, Dongwoo is not interested in including women in the harem who are not interested. Even if this woman is very beautiful, if she is not moved, she is not moved. Now that Layla has escaped, your crisis has been resolved. Then go back to the demon world and don't come out again, let alone bring trouble to the universe. After Dongwoo said that, he turned around and flew towards the earth. Tova hesitated for a long time. In the end, she didn't know what she was thinking and wanted to fly to the earth. Maybe she was sad and felt that Dapra had abandoned her. As a younger sister being left behind by her own brother, it is indeed very sad. However, does Dapra love Tova? It can be said with certainty that he does. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken Tawa with me when I fled, and stayed with me for 3 years, but it can only be said that Dapra loves herself more, and selfishness makes Dapra finally choose to live on her own. Dongwoo didn't care about Tawa. Now Tawa is still a naive but self-righteous little witch who doesn't understand the world. But the reason why Dongwoo left in such a hurry was not because he was avoiding Tawa, that was unnecessary. The main reason is that Dongwoo feels that he has understood something, but he has not yet grasped it. Dongwoo urgently needs to go back to study and feel. Tawa stood there in a daze for a long time, then looked at the direction Dongwoo left and remained silent for a long time. Finally, he gritted his teeth, stomped his feet, and flew in the direction Dongwoo left in anger. Tova did not choose to return to the devil world or find Dapula, maybe because she was sad. After all, being abandoned by her brother, Dapra left herself alone and ran away alone, so Tova finally chose to leave Dapra too. After Dongwoo returned to Earth, he immediately locked himself in a gravity chamber and no one was allowed to disturb him. Looking at the faint power in his palm, Dongwoo fell into deep thought. This is the ray of energy Dongwoo captured when he bombarded the entrance of the time cave. It's very special, with a power that has no beginning and no end. Decay and rebirth, past and future, no beginning and no end. But it's not just that, it also has another effect, which seems to mean infinitely large and infinitely small. Somewhat similar to the philosophy of hiding Sumeru in Jay-Z. What kind of power is this? Is it the power of time and space? Dongwoo's heart moved, thinking of his own channel to capture this energy. At that time, the time tunnel that attacked Layla accidentally captured a ray of this energy. Then the most likely thing is the power of time and space. In order to verify his conjecture, Dongwoo used this energy to activate instant transmission. But something happened that surprised Dongwoo. He arrived at the place he wanted to reach, but he did not walk out of the space. It's like I'm in another space. Separated by a layer of mysterious material, it actually appears at the destination. Is this hidden in space? Dongwu was stunned, as if he had discovered something extraordinary. Then Dongwu was excited and prepared to experiment with time distortion. Although Dongwu learned this trick, it was of no use. When he uses time distortion, he cannot really distort or control time. He can only see what happened in the last second as an outsider. What's the use of this? It's happened, and you want me to read it again. But this time it was different. When this energy was used, the time distortion actually occurred. You can stop your time or speed it up by 0.05 seconds. 0.05 seconds may seem like a small amount, but in the eyes of experts, 0.05 seconds is the difference between heaven and hell, the moment of life and death. People who have watched Dragon Ball Super should know that Hit from the 6th universe has this similar ability to flash. You can speed up your time by 0.5 seconds. The superb use of it in his hands made him the most terrifying killer. However, there is still a gap between Dongwu and Hit. One is 0.5 and the other is 0.05. 1 decimal point makes a world of difference. However, Dongwu is already very satisfied. At the very least, time warps are no longer completely useless. This energy has been of great help to me, and I now have another trump card. I can use space to hide myself, and use time distortion to speed up time. I can take it by surprise and kill with one strike. Dongwu was very excited. The combination of the two was simply a magical skill. Dongwu didn't expect that the battle with Layla would have such unexpected gains. But thinking of Layla and Babidi who escaped, and Dapula who deserted during the battle, Dongwu frowned again. Layla has a time ring and can return to this universe at any time, but she cannot enter her world and is basically in a passive situation. She will definitely be fully prepared next time, and she will be in big trouble then. Although Dongwu is not afraid, because he will continue to make progress. However, it is ultimately a trouble and a scourge. Coupled with the fact that Babidi always wanted to unblock Majin Buu, it was a mess. There is also Dapura. Although her strength is not that great, she is also annoying. Dongwu has nothing to do with Layla and Babidi now, but Dapura. Thinking of this, Dongwu's eyes narrowed. A ray of cold light flashed away. It seems I can only deal with you first. Dapura's strength is not bad, and he has about a second level. In the original book, Son Gohan fought against him and suffered losses. But he was really frightened by Layla, and he felt that Dongwu didn't seem to have a good impression of him. He felt that no matter who lost or won, he would get nothing. Therefore, after killing the opponent in the battle, he ran away in a hurry. Because he felt that Dongwu had no chance of winning, and was afraid that if Dongwu lost, he would be caught or killed by Layla. In the beginning, he was determined to die because he felt that there was no way to escape. The so-called trapped beast still fights. However, when he saw the hope of escape, he chose to leave without hesitation. As a demon king, he has his own way of survival. However, you are too naive to think that you can escape this way. He thought with a disdainful sneer. He has already felt Dapura's chi, and can use his chi to move to Dapura instantly with 643. Unless he can completely contain his anger like a godlike Supreme Kai, he will never be able to escape his own pursuit. Let me see where you went. Dongwu closed his eyes, and soon a dark breath appeared in Dongwu's senses. It was Dapura, and the energy was moving rapidly at this time. What a Dapula, he runs very fast. Dongwu raised the corner of his mouth and showed a sarcastic smile. At this time, Dapula left the battlefield, grabbed a spaceship and escaped quickly. He was also very nervous and scared, so he drove at the highest speed all the way. It can be seen that his face has always been solemn, and there is a trace of cold sweat. This is simply impossible for a master like him. It wasn't until a long time later, when no one was chasing Dapura, that he was in the mood to recall and compare the spaceships. I have to say, the speed of Snail Man's spaceship is really good. Dapura, who was already far away in the stolen Snail Man's spaceship, finally felt a little more relaxed. In order to grab this spaceship and not waste time, Dapura directly destroyed a planet. That is the planet where the owner of the spaceship and the snail people live. The snail people above also disappeared directly during the bombardment. Now we are almost free of them, but where should we go? Dapura was worried. You definitely can't go back to the demon realm. If people talk too much, someone might snitch on you. As a demon king, he hardly trusts anyone. It's not just him. Suspicion is a common problem among almost all kings. With the last bit of grit, Dappura decided to go to the Jedi Din Sharada realm. According to legend, the Sharada Star Absolute Territory was originally the birthplace of Saiyan and the location of Sarada Star. It was just that the planet Sarada was destroyed due to civil strife, and 10 nearby starfields also became Jedi. Of all the people who enter the Sharada extinction territory, few can come out alive. Even if a small number of people come out, they never mention the situation inside, or they have forgotten the situation inside. Dappura still has a certain degree of confidence in his own strength, even though he has encountered two masters, Layla and Dongwu, who are unable to resist. But he is still one of the top players now. He was confident that he would not die inside. As long as he escapes Lila's pursuit, he will still be the supreme king of the demon world when he comes out after a while. Although Dappura is suspicious and afraid of death, he also has the adventurous spirit he deserves. Otherwise, we cannot step on the bones of Layla and step onto the throne of the devil. Doing what he thought of, Dappura directly entered the coordinates into the spacecraft and headed towards the Sarada extremity at full speed. However, at this moment an unexpected person appeared in his spaceship. Silent, like a ghost. Dappula, long time no see. Dongwu looked at Dappula with an evil smile. As for Dappura, he already knew what he was doing through King Kai. For the sake of a spaceship, a planet was directly destroyed and an entire race was exterminated. Dongwu would never let this kind of murderous devil go. In fact, even if Dappura did not destroy Snail Star, Dongwu would not let him go. This is just another reason for Dongwu to kill him. Not only Dappura, but also Layla and Babidi, he didn't even think about letting them go. However, Dongwu didn't expect that Layla actually had such a thing as a time ring. Otherwise, I will definitely kill them directly after I finish training. However, since they have escaped and he has no ability to track them, there is nothing he can do. But Dappura was not so lucky. Dongwu, how is it possible that you didn't die in the hands of that woman? Dappura was frightened when he saw Dongwu. According to his calculation, Dongwu should not be Lila's opponent and should be killed. However, now Dongwu is standing beside him unharmed. How could he not be afraid in front of him? You must know that he betrayed Dongwu. Oh, you really hope that I die in Lila's hands. Unfortunately, you are disappointed. So, I have to ask you to die. Dongwu had a mocking smile at the beginning, but by the end, his face turned gloomy. That cold expression made Dappura's heart skip a beat, and she felt cold all over. No, don't kill me, just listen to me. Dappura waved his hands vigorously, trying to explain something. However, at this moment, Dappura spitted at Dongwu. Puff. Dongwu threw a piece of cloth to block Dappura's saliva, and then saw the piece of cloth quickly turn into stone. How do you know my ability? Dappura said with a look of death on his face. Dongwu, who has read the original work, how could he not know Dappura's special ability? He has been on guard for a long time. Dappura, whose saliva was blocked by Dongwu, was completely heartbroken. He knew that his last chance was lost. He wanted to say something more, but Dongwu didn't bother to listen at all. Transformed directly into Super Saiyan, a ki blast smashed Dappura into pieces. Dappu died and Dongwu was about to leave. Suddenly, the information on the spacecraft control screen caught Dongwu's attention, and it showed that it was almost there. Sha 5.8 Lada's extremity. Dongwu has never heard of this place, but since it is an extremity area, why would Dappura go there? If you have any questions, contact the King of Kai. This is the simplest method that Dongwu thought of. Faced with Dongwu's question, King Kai immediately became furious. Warning. You cannot go to that place. There is a mysterious power surrounding it. Almost no one who enters can come out. It is a dead end. But King Kai's words made Dongwu even more interested. In line with the attitude of breaking the pot and getting to the bottom of the matter, Dongwu asked again. Why is there such a Jedi in the universe? Then King Kai sighed and spoke happily. King Kai said that this paragraph was obviously full of sighs and worries, as if he was sighing for Saiyan's experience but also had some scruples. But I finally told Dongwu. The emergence of this star field is actually related to Saiyan, because the place where Saiyan was born is here, the planet Sarada. What? You said Saiyan was born here? In other words, the reason why this star field is like this is because of the civil strife in Saiyan. Dongwu was shocked. He knew that Saiyan was not on planet Vegeta in his previous life. It was only because Saiyan was in civil strife and destroyed his own planet that he wandered in the universe and finally settled on Planet, and finally eliminated the planters and changed its name to Planet Vegeta. However, he really doesn't know what the original planet Saiyan is called or where it is. Only now did I know that it was here. Saiyan is the planet Sarada that was born in this star field. But the reason why this place is like this is not because of Saiyan. It is because of a supreme god. When King Kai talked about this god, his voice trembled obviously. Obviously, he is very jealous and even afraid of this god. But Dongwu understood King Kai's fear and did not think King Kai was timid. Because of this god, Dongwu guessed it was the gods of destruction Beerus. Except for him, no one can achieve this level. It destroyed an entire star field and left behind an indelible power for many years. As a result, King Kai's next words confirmed Dongwu's conjecture. This person is gods of destruction Beerus. He is the most powerful and noble god in the universe. Noble must be added 1, Supreme Kai is at the same level as him. Then the gods of destruction, as the most noble gods, why did they destroy the planet Sala? Wu asked. He knew that although Beerus was in charge of the power of destruction, he was moody. But under normal circumstances, he is too lazy to take action unless something offends him or there is a reason to destroy it. That's because you Saiyan have 2 gods. King Kai sighed, and then continued to explain to Dongwu. Originally, Saiyan was not cruel and evil like planet Vegeta. Instead, he was peace-loving. Although he was warlike, he did not kill innocent people indiscriminately. And under the leadership of Super Saiyan God, he was prosperous. Until a person appeared and the situation changed. When King Kai mentioned this period of history, he was filled with emotion and a little bit of sadness. It's as if I feel sorry for Saiyan's ending. A person, who is it? Although Dongwu finds it funny that Saiyan loves peace, he doesn't think it's impossible. After all, even Saiyan from planet Vegeta has kind people. Dongwu doesn't care. What he cares about is who can change the Saiyan nation with the Super Saiyan God. This person is the Super Saiyan Demon God, a natural Super Saiyan, which is what you call the legendary Super Saiyan. Just like Broly, it is said that the Super Saiyan is born with a violent temperament but has excellent talents. In this way, step by step he has reached the realm of gods and demons, and challenged the Super Saiyan God. When King Kai said this, his tone became obviously serious. Did this cause the civil strife in Saiyan? Dongwu also became serious, as if a big secret was about to be revealed. Yes, Saiyan is divided into 2 camps because of this. But they can't play any role. The real decisive victory or defeat is still between the Super Saiyan God and the Super Saiyan Demon God. This battle shattered the planet, and a large star field disaster followed. This incident alarmed the supreme gods of destruction. In a rage, the gods of destruction completely destroyed the Super Sailor God and Super Saiyan Demon God together with the entire star field. The current Sarada extremity field was left behind. Hiss! Dongwu gasped. Not only was he frightened by the origin of Sarada's extremity, but he was also shocked by the destructive power of the gods of destruction Beerus. When I watched Dragon Ball Super, I had no idea that gods of destruction Beerus could destroy the universe. Note, destruction does not mean destruction. But Dongwu was really shocked when he saw an entire star field turned into a desert with his own eyes. You must know that Dongwu is now considered a master. If he transforms into Secret Series 2, he will definitely be more powerful than ordinary Super Series 3, not the top Super Series 3 in the later stage. But with his current power, he can destroy at most half of the star system at once with all his strength, or even not. Compared with the entire star field, it's so far behind that it's impossible to guess. So that's it. No wonder Beerus wants to destroy planet Vegeta in the end. It turns out that at this time, Saiyan has already angered Beerus. Recalling Vegeta's memories and online discussions in Dragon Ball, Dongwu finally knew the answer. It seems that if Son Goku hadn't become friends with Beerus in the end, I'm afraid all Saiyans would have been doomed. Dongwu had to sigh. Son Goku was like Mao Zedong in his previous life. He was loved by everyone and could become friends with anyone. The first to drink tea, then Tien Shinhan, Piccolo, Vegeta, Kaio, Supreme Kai and the martial arts masters of the underworld. Even the last gods of destruction Beerus, Angel Whis and Zeno. Everyone has a good relationship with Son Goku. This guy is born in the year of RMB. Kaio-sama, please give me more answers, but I want to go in and have a look. Is there any way? Dongwu asked. He really wants to go back and see what kind of place actually gave birth to two godlike warriors. Note, there are gods strength and realm, but they are not gods. The gods in the Dragon Ball world are born or inherited. Spoon. You'd better not go in. If you have to go in, there are two safe ways. One is for Lord Gods of Destruction to take you there, and the other is for Lord Supreme Kai to take you there. Otherwise, both are in danger. However, with your current situation, with his strength, he shouldn't even smile too much. However, it is guaranteed to be 100%. The King of Kai didn't necessarily stop Dongwu, he just warned him as much as he should. Although the power of gods of destruction is very strong, the power of gods of destruction is also unparalleled. But after all, after so many years, the energy has dissipated and a lot of it remains for Dai Wu. It's not too dangerous. Dongwu didn't think too much and entered the Shirata extremity realm directly. Although there is danger, the risk factor is not high. I don't dare to go like this, and Dongwu is embarrassed to say that he is a Saiyan. Entering the Shirata extremity territory, what you see at first glance is a void of space, with nothing in it. Not to mention the planet, there is not even light or a trace of matter. Completely, a place of nothingness. Moving on, Dongwu flew for half a year before he saw a building. Rough, vast and majestic. Dongwu approached the building and found that it resembled a temple. Walking to the front, the words, Saya Temple, appeared in front of Dongwu's eyes. Dongwu was shocked, and his whole mind was attracted. It seems to have infinite magic power, which makes people's eyes completely inseparable. Dongwu didn't know how he got in. He was completely absent-minded and walked into the Haya temple in a daze. After entering the temple, Dongwu gradually woke up, and then looked at the empty Saiyan temple. Soon Dongwu saw some pictures on the wall. When he got closer, he discovered that they were about a person's life. When he was a child, everyone liked to make fun of him because of his low combat ability. But he did not admit defeat, practiced hard, and constantly surpassed himself. Slowly, his strength became stronger and stronger, surpassing one tribe after another, until one day he stood in front of all Saiyan. Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 and finally Super Saiyan God. He became the well-deserved god and patron saint of the Saiyan nation. Is this the path to the growth of a Super Saiyan God? It's very similar to Son Goku. Dongwu murmured to himself and continued to look down. The Super Saiyan God appeared and has been guarding the planet Sarada and the Saiyan nation. This continued for many years until a baby was born. This baby was born different. Not only was his natural fighting ability far superior to that of his tribe, but his temperament was full of cruelty and violence. But he is a Saiyan after all, a member of his own tribe and a genius of the Saiyan nation. Everyone is very optimistic about him, like him very much, and are very tolerant of some of his mistakes. Slowly, the baby grew bigger and bigger, and he became more and more special. His combat power increases much faster than his peers, and he becomes increasingly arrogant, cruel and violent, and sometimes even mentally confused. Until one day, the grown-up baby actually beat his own tribe to death, and even seriously injured his parents who came after hearing the news. The Super Saiyan God was alarmed and finally punished him. But he didn't kill him. After all, he was the most talented Saiyan. The Super Saiyan God also wanted him to become the second Super Saiyan God after him. Time slowly passed, and this brutal Saiyan showed a unique Super Saiyan transformation. The strength is greater than that of ordinary Super Saiyan. The transformation increases more, the strength is stronger, and the body is never tired. The Super Saiyan God was even more happy and imparted all his knowledge and experience to him. In the penultimate group of images, the baby finally transcends the limits of Saiyan and becomes a god-like being. But what he transformed into was not a Super Saiyan God, but a Super Saiyan 4. This should be the growth path of Super Saiyan Demon God. But why did he transform into 4? And Super Saiyan God transformed into Super Saiyan God? What is the difference or connection between the two? Dongwu continued to look down, and there was a dispute between the concept of Super Saiyan Demon and Super CGCI, Super Saiyan God. The Super Saiyan God thinks that God is the right one, but the Super Saiyan Demon God thinks that the fourth one is the best and most suitable for Saiyan. The Saiyans of planet Sarada were also divided into two factions, the Divine faction and the Demonic faction, which eventually turned into a war. Isn't it very similar to the sword fight in Washin and Swordsman? In the end, the two factions of Saiyan, led by the Super Saiyan God and the Super Saiyan Demon God, started a fierce fight. Until a purple rabbit and a tall, angry figure with aqua blue skin appeared, and the scene suddenly stopped. Sure enough, it has something to do with Beerus. But who is right or wrong, God or the Four? Which one is the most correct path? Dongwu had to think deeply. This was related to his future, and he couldn't help but be careless. Dongwu slowly continued walking inside with doubts. The road was very empty and there was nothing. Until they reached the deepest point, two decayed skeletons appeared in Dongwu's sight. The two skeletons are in the same posture, with their hands moving forward in a pair of waves. But it was obvious that the two were not fighting, because they shot in the same direction. Dongwu guessed that they were trying their best to stop Beerus. Unfortunately, they all died in the end. Is there such a big difference between Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Demon God and Beerus? Dongwu frowned. This didn't seem to be consistent with the Dragon Ball Super he watched in his previous life. Because Son Goku transformed into a Super Sailor God in Dragon Ball Super, although he is still no match for Beerus, he can at least put up a few moves. But here, the two of them couldn't survive a move together. Dongwu stepped forward and prepared to bury the two skeletons. After all, the descendants of the Yan and Huang dynasties pay attention to being buried in the ground, and it is not good to be exposed to the air all the time. Although the outside world has turned into ruins, the interior of the temple is still basically intact. Intact. Dongwu was stunned, then shook his head. It seems that the Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Demon God are not without any resistance. At least the Saiyan temple was saved from Beerus's attack. Shaking his head and no longer thinking about these things, Mengwu approached and picked up the two skeletons. Click, clatter. After Dongwu lifted the bones, the two bones turned into ashes and scattered on the ground. When the wind blows, it scatters all over the sky. Dongwu sighed in his heart. No matter whether you were invincible or mediocre during your lifetime, you will not be able to escape and disappear into thin air after death. He shook his head and was about to leave, when two lines of words appeared in Dongwu's eyes. The characters set in ancient and modern times have not changed. Book friends, please don't criticize me. To be exact, there were only a few. Human, God, demon, demonic God, Dongwu thought to himself, and suddenly his eyes lit up. This is to tell other Saiyans that an ordinary Saiyan will transform into a Super Saiyan God, and a Super Saiyan will transform into Super Saiyan 4. Dongwu remembered a topic raised by netizens in his previous life. Super Saiyan God transforms from a human into a god, while Super Saiyan IV transforms from a human into an animal. Because Super Saiyan IV has to go through the Golden Gorilla transformation process, or it has red fur and tail after transformation. All indicate that Super Saiyan IV is transforming more and more into animalistic directions. Suitable. Dongwu understands that in the final analysis, different Saiyans are suitable for different directions. The normal Saiyan obviously has human nature overpowering the animal nature, while the legendary Saiyan has the animal nature taking over the body. Therefore, a normal Saiyan will transform into a Super Saiyan, while a legend Saiyan will transform into a Super Saiyan. So can it be reversed and a normal Saiyan can transform into Super 4? Yes, it is possible, otherwise there is no need for the two of us to discuss it. Anyway, even if you were right, it is meaningless if no one can transform. But again, it fits. Ordinary Saiyan can also become a Super Saiyan 4, but his strength is very weak, far inferior to the Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Demon God. Because there is not enough animality. Vice versa. But what should I do if this happens? Dongwu understood the relationship between the Super Saiyan God and the Super Saiyan Demon God and the ordinary Saiyan and the Super Saiyan, but he himself was stunned. Because they didn't mention how they could change their situation. Saiyan's only special situation since ancient times, this is a bit cheating. It turns out that he was still complacent about his secret game, but now it seems that he is a little bit cheated. Both the incarnation of the Super Saiyan and the ordinary Saiyan have guidance, but he has no inheritance. Ordinary Saiyan takes the route of Super Saiyan transformation, and the route of passing Super into level 4 or even 5. This is the difference between different physiques. Xuanchao expresses more animal nature, while Saiyan generally expresses more human nature. In Dragon Balls, the old Supreme Kai once clearly said that the layers of Saiyan transformation are going astray. Because Saiyan is also a human being, and the transformation after surpassing Saiyan 2 awakens the animal nature. For example, Son Goku, in his Saiyan 3 transformation, began to develop into an ape-like appearance. As for Super Saiyan IV and GT is not the original work, but a fanfic. But it is more recognized by the audience, although his face has returned to human nature, his tail and hair all over his body look like a beast, and even the scarlet eyes are like a beast. Performance. In Dragon Ball Super, Son Goku finally gave up on the higher level transformation and chose to become a human Super Sailor God. Vegeta even advanced directly from Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan God. It can be said that Super Saiyan 3, who has begun to develop towards animalistic nature, is no longer a necessity to advance to Super Saiyan God. Can I only keep one transformation and give up the secret game and another transformation? Dongwu is very confused. He doesn't know whether he should give up, and even if he gives up, which one should he give up? Moreover, he has now merged with the secret game and it is not that easy to give up. But soon Dongwu became determined and chose to follow his own path. Ordinary Saiyan has found his way to become a Super Saiyan God, and Xuanchao Saiyan has found his way to advance to Super Saiyan 4 or higher again. But they are not themselves, and unlike their own situation, there is no need to force themselves to follow other people's paths. Since others can successfully develop their own way, then you can too. After thinking about this, Dongwu let out a sigh of relief and instantly felt relaxed all over his body. It was as if a heavy burden had been lifted off, and my whole body felt light. However, this is good news for Son Goku and even Broly. The information from the temple was of great help to me, allowing me to clarify my true intentions and know my true intentions. But what is more helpful is the ordinary Saiyan like Dongla and the Super Saiyan like Broly, because someone has already pointed them in the direction. This allows them to avoid many detours. After walking around and finding that there was nothing else, Dongwu chose to go back. He returned to the birthplace of Saiyan, fulfilled his wish, and no longer lingered. However, Dongwu came in very smoothly, there was no danger at all, and it was not as scary as outsiders said. This made Dongwu a little strange, and at the same time he felt a little wary. Because if it was really so safe, it would be impossible for so many people to come in and only so few to go out. Even the few people who went out never mentioned this place, which was very abnormal. Finally, the moment Dongwu stepped out of the temple, what he worried about became a reality. Outsider, how did you escape the surveillance of the guards and enter our temple? The leader is a Saiyan who looks very similar to Vegeta, but his face looks blue and black, which is very abnormal. First of all, I am not an outsider, I am Saiyan. I came here to pay homage to my ancestral land. As for how I escaped your surveillance, I don't know, because I walked in openly. Saiyan from outside, are you a traitor of Vegeta? Vegeta's ancestors are called Vegeta for generations. You escaped during the decisive battle. You are not worthy of entering the temple. People like Vegeta looked at Dongwu with hatred, as if they were immediately we should tear Dongwu into pieces. It doesn't matter what is right or wrong anymore, because there are not many Saiyans out there anymore. However, I think something is not right with you. Dongwu saw that there were probably hundreds of Saiyans in this group a year ago, and all of them had black faces and skinny bones. Similar to a person suffering from a disease, Zong's character is truly black and blue. This is very abnormal, healthy people will not have this kind of face. But when it comes to getting sick, it's impossible for everyone to get sick. Dongwu's words made the leader startled, and then he sighed and said, yeah, it's not important anymore. In fact, it's good for you to escape, at least leave a bloodline for Saiyan. Otherwise, no matter how many people there are, it will not help. Compared to what's the use of gods of destruction? He seemed to be talking to Dongwu, and he seemed to be talking to himself. There was a complicated look on his face. After a long time, he took a deep breath and said to Dongwu, as you can see, there is something wrong with our bodies, not just us. There is something wrong with all Saiyan in this star field. We can't live long, and we can't live for long. We can no longer reproduce. The chance of survival that the gods and demons finally fought for us after so many years is about to end. Let me introduce myself. My name is Batar. My ancestors and Vegeta City belong to the main Saiyan clan. Can you tell me about the situation of the Saiyans outside? Said the leader, who looked very similar to Vegeta. Only then did Dongwu know his name and identity. No wonder they are so similar to Vegeta, they are from the same family. At that moment, Dongwu talked about the situation in Saiyan outside. When he heard that there were only a few hundred people left in Saiyan, Batar was deeply saddened. Dongwu, please leave here quickly. This place is entangled by the two ancestors and the power grandson of gods of destruction. Anyone who lives here for too long will be cursed and affected. But after you leave, please be sure to let Saiyan pass on and grow stronger. Saiyan Nation. Batar patted Dongwu's shoulder and said seriously. The disappearance of Saiyan here is a foregone conclusion, so we can only rely on you. After Batar finished speaking, he asked people to take Dongwu away. Regardless of whether Dongwu wants it or not, he just goes ahead and leaves. They said nothing and simply obeyed Batar's orders. I don't know if they have completely adapted to this place. They are not as strong as Dongwu, but they are much faster than Dongwu. Dongwu was carried all the way to the edge of the Shirata extremity territory before a few people lowered Dongwu down. Dongwu, who understood what they meant, nodded solemnly and said cherished words to them. Without waiting for these people to respond, Dongwu turned around and left the Shirata extremity unit. A long-lost freshness made Dongwu feel comfortable. But his mood was not very comfortable. Saiyan is really in trouble. Beerus, even if you are exercising your profession normally, I will teach you a lesson when you gain strength in the future. Seeing the tragedy in the Shirata star territory, recalling the extinction of planet Vegeta Saiyan, Dongwu felt extremely sad and angry towards Beerus. But it's no wonder that Beerus was there. After all, Saiyan went too far and it was his responsibility. However, it is still necessary to be able to express your anger. Beerus, who was sleeping, had no idea that someone was already trying to teach him a lesson. However, Beerus sneezed several times in his sleep. God is still very sensitive. Dongwu not only wanted to beat Beerus, but also felt a heavy burden on him. Let Saiyan pass on. This is placed on planet Vegeta and planet Sarada, all Saiyan's expectations. This responsibility is not light. I wonder how Broly is doing now. When he came to New Saiyan Star and looked at the houses that had been built, as well as the gravity chambers under construction, etc., Dongwu felt a sense of pride and mission in his heart. At the same time, he has a kind of pride, and he will lead Saiyan to the stage of universe again. The Earth will be left to Son Goku and the others for the time being. I want to make Saiyan prosperous first. Dongwu looked at the sparse Saiyan race, with less than 1,000 people, and felt an indescribable sadness in his heart. How powerful were planet Sarada Saiyan back then? Even at the time of planet Vegeta, there were nearly 100,000 Saiyan. But now, there are less than 1,000 people. Although there are still Saiyan 977, coming one after another, there are also very few who are unwilling to come. But the number is very small. It's hard to say whether there are 100 in total. Dongwu found Broly and explained some things. For example, encouraging childbirth and giving rewards for having children. For example, Saiyan's education and spirit, these are all things to worry about. But when he mentioned this, Broly's face turned into a bitter smile. It's okay if you let me fight, but I really can't do this. I tried it before you came back, but it's not the material. I'm about to go to Earth to tell you about this and see if I can find a suitable candidate. Come and teach Saiyan. Broly said with a sad face. He was really scared, and his head got bigger when he mentioned it. He would rather fight against a strong enemy than try to reason with a group of Saiyans. These guys with well-developed limbs and simple minds simply lack the skills. Each one is more active in fighting, and each one is more uncomfortable in listening to lectures. Going to Earth to find a teacher. What a good idea. Dongwu's eyes lit up. It was a good idea. The innate qualities of the people on Earth are not as good as Saiyans, but the martial arts concepts of men on Earth are much stronger than Saiyans. If an Earthling has Saiyan's physique, 10 Earth's martial arts concepts will definitely suppress the demi-humans. Moreover, Dongwu really thought of a few good candidates. Master Roshi and Tian Shinhan are all rare martial arts masters. Especially Master Roshi, a great master is not just a boaster. Okay, I will bring some teachers here from Earth. Dongwu nodded, not thinking that Master Roshi and others would be unable to suppress Saiyan. You must know that the combat power of Saiyan's current Saiyan basically hovers between 1 and 2000, and some even have less than 1000. Except for Brawly, Raditz and Turles, there is no one with a combat power of more than 3000. The tallest one is a Saiyan named Raymond, who only has a combat power of 2800. Compared to Master Roshi, who had a combat power of 10,000 years ago, and now has accumulated a lot of experience, and reached a terrifying combat power of 180,000 3 years ago, the Saiyans on Saiyan planet are now scum. Even Krillin and Tian Shinhan had a combat strength of about 150,000 3 years ago. When the time comes, wait for Master Roshi and others to take care of you. But it is a pity that Yunsha seems to have given up on martial arts. After thinking about it, Dongwu instant transmission came to Master Roshi on Earth. But the scene in front of him stunned Dongwu. At this time, Vegeta was fighting Android 19. Speaking of which, counting the time, it's been almost 3 years since Date left here, and it's almost time for the artificial humans to appear. Dongwu counted the time and realized that it was indeed almost at this stage. Dongwu didn't feel strange about Vegeta who was fighting. Because after Vegeta defeated Cooler, Dongwu said that only after defeating Son Goku can he be qualified to challenge him. With Vegeta's character, he will definitely find Son Goku. The outcome is obvious, Vegeta failed to win. Otherwise, we should have found Dongwu long ago. But what surprised Dongwu was that Zangia was also there, and she was holding a baby in her arms. The skin is slightly bluish and very light in color, almost like a normal earthling. But what made Dongwu complain was that the baby actually had a tail. Needless to say, it must be Saiyan's species. Coupled with the sky-high hair, there is no doubt that Vegeta must have done good things. This guy moves very fast. Without Bulma, he and Zangia got together so quickly. Dongwu felt that the world was changing so fast, and he was a little dizzy. He thought that Zangia would be with Vegeta. After all, everyone could see Zangia's concern for Vegeta. But it's too fast. From the time Cooler died until now, he has only been away for more than a year and less than 2 years. Vegeta actually pushed Zangia and made a little man out. You really have quick eyes and quick hands. However, it can be seen that Vegeta's strength has grown rapidly in less than 2 years. Now that Vegeta has transformed into Super Saiyan, he has almost a billion combat power. Number 19 is in his hands, and he has no chance to fight back. But Dongwu didn't see Son Goku, and Dongwu was speechless. Isn't that guy Son Goku still suffering from viral heart disease? If that's the case, luckily I came back quickly. Dongwu felt a little lucky, thinking about the special medicine Trunks gave him during training. Without Son Goku's 7 Dragon Balls, it would be a lot less exciting. After feeling it, I found that Son Goku's breath was indeed a little weak. Dongwu instant transmission came to Son Goku's ward. Looking at Son Goku who was in a coma, Dongwu slapped his forehead and looked speechless. Is this fate? Dongwu doesn't know either, but with the special medicine, he is not afraid that Son Goku will really die. However, he was secretly glad that if it had been a little later, this guy would probably have died. After feeding Son Goku the special medicine, Dongwu returned to the scene. At this time, number 19 has been blasted to pieces by Vegeta, and number 20, Dr. Gero, also translated it as Dr. Gero, is escaping. Although Dongwu is not interested in number 20, he is still more interested in Tien number 8. Number 18, whose real name is Lazuli, is an ordinary girl on Earth. Later, he was captured by Dr. Gallo and his younger brother Lapis, and transformed into an artificial man with powerful combat capabilities. But although number 18 is an artificial human, his charm has conquered every Dragon Ball fan. She is almost every male Dragon Ball fan's dream lover. Including Dongwu's previous life, everyone was amazed. In fact, the reason why Dongwu never got married has a lot to do with on the 18th. But later on, I didn't expect that girl Dongla would push me back. Dongwu left everyone alone and followed Dr. Gallo alone. Although Dr. Gallo is an android with no energy, his movements cannot be hidden from Dongwu, and his speed is also far behind. Dongwu hung far behind Dr. Gallo until an inconspicuous hill appeared in front of Dongwu's eyes. This is the location of Dr. Gallo's research institute, so it should be here on the 18th. Dongwu murmured to himself, with a touch of excitement and anticipation in his eyes. Knowing the home base of Dr. Gallo's research institute, Dongwu did not go in directly. Because he knew that Dr. Gallo would definitely release number 17 and number 18 and then be killed. Dongwu was afraid that if he went in too early, the 17th and 18th would not have time to kill Dr. Gallo, which would cause trouble. It's not that Dongwu is afraid of Dr. Gallo, but he is afraid of the controller in Dr. Gallo's hand. That is something that can stop the movement functions of number 17 and number 18, and detonate bombs in their bodies. If the two don't kill Dr. Gallo, let him take control of the controller. Then number 17 and number 18 must listen to him. Will they fight or not? It doesn't matter if he's on the 17th, and it doesn't matter if he's beaten once. The key is the 18th, I can't do it. But it's not my style to be beaten passively, that would be. Therefore, Dongwu waited outside for himself to come out on the 16th, 17th and 18th. They were also created for the purpose of revenge and killing Son Goku, they will definitely come out. Boom, sure enough, it didn't take long for the hill to explode. Then Vegeta and others flew out first, and then 3 more figures flew out. This is number 18, it's really beautiful. Looking at number 18, number 26 flying out, Dongwu instantly felt that it was unjust for this girl not to wipe it. As for Vegeta, Piccolo and others, well, Dongwu said he didn't see it and just ignored it. In fact, Dongwu came here just for number 18. As for the threat of artificial humans, Dongwu said there was no need to worry at all. Not to mention Son Goku's combat power, he can completely blast numbers 16 to 18 after he recovers. Even Vegeta can defeat number 17 and number 18. No, 16 Vegeta is no match for the time being. Because the combat power of number 16 is 1.6 billion, and Vegeta only has 1 billion. Is number 16 the strongest on the scene? No, there are 2 more who can completely destroy all the androids. This person is Piccolo and Trunks. Piccolo's combat power is 2 billion. After merging with the gods, his talents returned and his combat effectiveness increased 100 times. Therefore, Dongwu is not worried about what kind of waves the artificial man will cause. He was worried about number 18, fearing that this girl would be beaten to death by this group of people. Hey, Trunks, is this the android you were talking about? Vegeta asked with a relaxed look on his face, clasping his hands on his chest. Piccolo and others also looked at the 3 figures without much fluctuation. His strong fighting ability makes him not afraid of challenges. Yes, it's them. It's just that in my time and space, there is no android no. 16. And Trunks no longer has the fear of androids in the original work, because after Dongwu's training, Trunks now has a super powerful combat power. He returned to his own space and easily killed the androids there. Now, when Trunks looks at the androids, he is not afraid, but feels that it is easy to kill them. Trunks thought well, he could indeed defeat the androids. Because at full power, he has a combat power of 2.5 billion. But one thing he didn't know was that the artificial humans in this time and space were much stronger than the artificial humans in the greater time and space. The combat power of the artificial beings in the great space-time is only about 400 million, but the combat effectiveness of the artificial beings in this time-space is more than 700 million. Although it is of no use. As long as it's them, let Uncle Vegeta send you all to the garbage dump for scrapping. Vegeta smiled contemptuously, and then transformed into Super Saiyan. Ha, Vegeta, you really know how to joke. We are perfect androids, the most powerful warriors. Want to defeat us? Dream on. Number 17 was also very confident. He smoothed his hair and was about to rush forward to fight Vegeta. But he was stopped by number 16, who looked at number 16 in confusion. You are no match for him. The moment I detected his transformation, his combat power reached 1 billion. But you, according to my data, only have a combat power of over 700 million. Number 16 explained. What did you say, number 16? I'm not as good as him. We are the most perfect artificial humans and the most powerful warriors. How can we be inferior to this yellow-haired monkey? Number 17 looked at number 16 dissatisfied, not believing him at all. The words said, "Ha, if you don't believe me, I'll beat you. Believe it or not." Vegeta instantly flew towards the android, and Tianludu, number 17 and number 18 were all within his attack range. But compared to the other two, number 17 was much angrier. He threw away No 16's hand and rushed towards Vegeta. And number 18, perhaps because of confidence or pride, didn't even go up to help. "Hey, beauty, why don't you go and help?" At this moment, number 18 suddenly heard a lewd laughter behind him. When he turned his head, he saw a handsome face, but his expression was quite vulgar and unbeatable. "Who are you?" No 18's delicate eyebrows were raised, obviously angry. No girl would be happy if she was looked at in such a vulgar manner and teased in a frivolous tone. "Don't be angry, beauty. I am your future husband, and I am waiting for you here. Don't worry, no one can bully you as long as I am here." Dongwu patted his chest and said generously. However, this method of flirting with a girl is too clumsy, and he directly calls her future husband. Why don't you blow your face off? It's also because he has never had experience flirting with girls, otherwise he wouldn't be so clumsy. Sure enough, after hearing Dongwu's words, No 18's face turned completely gloomy. A perfect and delicate face, it seems as if it is so gloomy that it can drip water at this moment. "You wanna die." No 18's direct attack was the maximum power output, and an energy bomb was thrown directly at Yiwu's face. But I have to say that Dongwu is really thick-skinned. With the combat power of number 18 number 700 million, under the full attack, there was no injury at all. "Beauty, it's your fault if you hit someone instead of slapping someone in the face." Dongwu completely turned into a chatterbox, changing his usual serious image. There is also a mean smile on his face, which makes people want to blow this handsome face to pieces. Actually, not just him, basically any man or woman. When facing the person you are attracted to, your words will increase unconsciously. One person wants the other person to pay more attention to themselves. The other is to show yourself to the other party and let the other party understand yourself. If you keep talking nonsense, I will definitely kill you. Number 18 felt like he was going crazy. How could there be such a shameless person? The key is that he seemed to be so powerful that he could not cause harm to the opponent even with all his strength. Number 18 felt that he had been unlucky for 8 lifetimes. He had just woken up and met such a shameless person. "Beauty, why do you need to fight and kill? How about we go shopping together, drink tea, and discuss life and other things? Isn't it wonderful?" Dongwu gave full play to his spirit and was shameless. Dongwu has completely understood the essence of the so-called shamelessness of stalking. "Ah, I'm going to kill you." Number 18 was completely angry. The powerful energy bombs were thrown at Dongwu for free, directly submerging Dongwu. Chapter 81. Number 18 is really angry and furious. Although she has an exquisite face, she looks good even when she is angry. But when the fire breaks out, the scene is chilling. The Qigong bombs flying all over the sky are all deadly things. Boom boom boom. Number 18 bombed continuously for a full minute before stopping. The surrounding terrain had completely changed. Although all attacks on the 18th were directed at Dongwu, the aftermath of the explosion still shattered everything that stood out. Complete the surrounding mountains and rocks to create a plain. Unfortunately, the powerful attack had no effect. When the smoke cleared, Dongwu still stood there intact, not moving a step, and even his clothes were not damaged. "Future daughter-in-law, the way you welcome your husband is so special." Dongwu grinned, showing his small white teeth, and greeted No. 18. "What? How is it possible?" Number 18 was shocked. He attacked with all his strength for a minute, but the opponent completely withstood it, but nothing happened. She felt incredible, deeply powerless and frightened. Seeing number 18 fall into a daze, Dongwu smiled slightly. The numbers in No 16's eyes were beating rapidly next to number 18, but he couldn't measure the real data. He could only watch the numbers jump back and forth. Don't take action on the 18th. His strength is unfathomable and you are no match for him. Even my detectors cannot measure his combat effectiveness. Number 16 stopped number 18 and prevented her from taking action again. Because he feels that Dongwoo is very scary, and if he takes action, he will probably kill everyone. Number 16. You are very good, even though you are an old-fashioned purely mechanical android. Dongwoo nodded, feeling very good about number 16. Not to mention that he has a gentle personality and likes small things. It was the final battle with Cell to protect number 18, and his choice to self-destruct after being repaired to maintain the peace of the Earth. This artificial human is more human than ordinary people. But just as Dongwoo continued to tease number 18, number 17 suddenly let out a scream. When Dongwoo turned around, he found that number 17 was vomiting blood and was being held up in the air by Vegeta. Dongwoo rolled his eyes and had an idea instantly. Vegeta, stop, let go of my brother-in-law. Dongwoo shouted loudly and flew to Vegeta and number 18 in a swish. When Vegeta and everyone present were stunned, he snatched the 18 skewers over. Then he walked to number 18 with a smile on his face. That flattering smile made people cover their faces unconsciously, feeling ashamed to see others. Moreover, has anyone seen Dongwoo like this? He has always been very serious and dignified. In response to this, Dongwoo said, "What the hell do you know? In the past life of China, you had to be shameless when chasing girls. Where are you now?" "On the 18th, I rescued our brother." Dongwoo handed number 17 to number 18, and then gave an expression like, "I am very powerful, and no one who follows me will dare to bully you." But number 18 didn't accept this trick at all, with a look of disgust on his face. But suddenly, he found number 18 showing a strange smile. Dongwoo didn't know why, so he looked up at Piccolo and found that he was opening his mouth in fear. What's going on? Dongwoo was stunned. Dong-woo. Suddenly, a voice full of murderous intent and violence came from behind, and Dongwoo's whole body stiffened instantly. He unconsciously let go of number 17 in his hand and turned around slowly mechanically. Lele. Dongwoo was caught teasing a girl behind his wife's back. Not only was he embarrassed, but he also felt extremely dangerous. Although there is no monogamy in the Dragon Ball world, who would want to share their husband with someone else? Listen. Dongwoo was about to explain to Dongla, but how could Dongla listen? Go to hell. Dongwoo was full of anger and directly blasted Dongwoo with a ki blast. People around him couldn't help but cover their faces, because the next scene would be extremely bloody. They couldn't bear to see Dongwoo's miserable appearance. Boom. Facing the angry Dongla, Dongwoo did not dare to hide and withstood the attack. Just now, he allowed number 18 to attack. If he avoids Dongli's attack now, he will probably die even worse. However, Dongla is much better than number 18. Although she didn't transform into Super Saiyan 3, she actually surpassed Super Saiyan 2. The normal combat strength has reached 800 million. Although Dongla didn't use all his strength, he should not be underestimated when he was angry. This time it was not so easy. Dongwoo, how dare you find a woman behind my back? It seems that Kakarot has set a bad example for you. Go to hell. Dong Lefei was so angry that he stopped talking about finding a woman. How dare you carry yourself behind your back? But what does it have to do with Son Goku? He was shot while lying down. Bang bang bang, boom. Dongla punched and kicked Dongwoo, and finally punched Dongwoo in the face, and then blasted him away with a Qigong bomb. A set of combination punches. Dongwoo can't find the east, west, south, and north. I tell you Dongwoo, no one can enter the house without my permission. Well, my parents are back anyway, I will tell them that you bullied me. Dongla said, tears welling up in his eyes. Dongwoo was beaten until his nose was bruised and his face was swollen, which was quite miserable. But he couldn't feel the pain. He looked at Dongla, who was sad and wronged, with tearful eyes. Dongwoo's heart felt like needles pricking her heart. Dongla had never cried since she was a child, and this time he really made her sad. I'm sorry Lele, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have made you sad, I'm a waste, I swear I'll never do it again, I'm sorry. Dongwoo stepped forward and hugged Dongla, saying sorry all the time, feeling full of guilt. Only then did Dongwoo understand what was said on the internet before, don't know how to cherish it when it's in your hands, and you won't regret it until you lose it. What you hold in your hands is happiness, and the turmoil in your heart will only make you fall into pure love and distress. Lele, let's go home. I will never look for another woman again. Dongwu hugged Dongla and couldn't bear to let go. The other people nearby looked at the two, but no one spoke. Dong Zhao Wu is indifferent to what Dongla said about Parrot and Zilia. But for Dongla, he was really heartbroken. With that said, Dongwu flew away directly holding the sad Dongla. What kind of artificial human? What kind of number? 18. Just leave it alone, fun is the most important thing. At this time, everyone left looked at each other with helpless expressions. What is this? But there is one person who is not confused, and that is number 18. She didn't know why, but she flew over with Dongwu and Dongla. Because Dongwu was fully focused on Dongla and the android was out of breath, Dongwu really didn't notice her following her. The remaining people were even more confused. Should the artificial man fight or not? Fight. Don't give Dongwu face. Don't want to fight. I'm afraid that artificial humans will harm the earth. It's also quite irritating. Dongwu and Dongla left, and so did number 18. No. 17. Number 16 and a group of Earth warriors were left looking at each other. When Dongwu arrived home, he discovered that number 18 had also come with him. Oh my god, this is really a life or death affair. Dongwu rubbed his forehead in pain, but he still wanted to eat the bitter fruit he had sown with tears in his eyes. Beauty, I'm sorry, I was joking just now, don't mind. Dongwu felt that this woman was very vindictive, so she followed her home closely. However, Dongwu didn't think that the other party was interested in him, it was probably for revenge. You want to throw it away after teasing me? How can it be so cheap? I won't be so easy to get rid of. Number 18 had no expression on his face, but he was quite sure. Dongwu always felt that something was wrong. What do you mean by throwing her away after teasing? He didn't do anything to her. He didn't even touch her. But Dongwu felt that he was finished and was going to be played to death by himself. Didn't you see that Dongla in his arms began to grind his teeth, and murderous intent began to appear in his eyes? But what can Dongwu do? He can't kill him, right? He can't drive him away, and he can't kill him. He is also desperate. But the most important thing now is to appease Dongla first, and let the other things go first. Ignoring number 18, Dongwu turned around and left. If you can't offend me, why can't you hide away? But before leaving, Dongla actually spoke. 277 inches, since you want him to be responsible, then come in. After speaking, Dongla broke away from Dongwu's arms, glanced at number 18, turned around and walked towards the house. Dongwu felt that he had to leave the earth quickly, it was too dangerous here. On the 18th, he followed Dongla directly into Dongwu's home without even hesitating. At this time, Parrot and Celia's own younger brothers, sisters and sisters-in-law were all there. While discussing marriage, Dongwu and others came in, making the situation very awkward. However, Dongwu can't care about so much now and just bite the bullet. While Dongwu was having a headache with family matters, a big event happened on the earth. Human beings on the earth began to disappear one after another. When they were discovered, only a piece of skin was left, which was so terrifying that it made people feel numb. This incident caused panic in the human world, and everyone rushed to escape, triggering a large-scale crowd. As for the androids, Piccolo and his team temporarily let them go due to Dongwu's relationship. But if they dare to kill innocent people indiscriminately, they will be absolutely destroyed. There was nowhere to go on the 16th and 17th, so I traveled aimlessly for the time being. As time passed, more and more humans were disappearing, and large-scale reports began to appear on television. Only then did Dongwu remember that there was still one cell that had not been solved. Lele, you go to Dr. Gallo's research institute. There is a secret base below the research institute. There is an artificial life form inside, which has gathered the excellent genes of almost all warriors. If mature, it will pose a great threat. You go and kill him now, destroy it, and you must not leave even a single cell behind. Dongwu said to Dongla. The cell that appears now is okay, after all, it only has the strength of the original. But Dongwu doesn't know how many cells in his world have been fused, and whether he has any of his own. If there were, it would be very scary. Because he has a super physique, if he is fused to cell, the resulting cell will be much more terrifying. Okay, then what are you doing? Dongla agreed and then asked. After these few days of comforting her, I made her happy. Dongla is not very angry anymore. Anyway, nothing happened between Dongwu and number 18. You should understand what I just said on TV. There is a monster eating people. And this man-eating monster is called Cell, and it comes from another time and space. He is stronger than number 17, number 18 and number 16. There are many. And what I asked you to eliminate is the Cell in our time and space. He has fused the genes of almost all the warriors, so he must be killed. Dongwu said seriously, but he was not too worried. Although Cell's strength is good, his strength can hardly increase after he matures. Although after being seriously injured, he turned into a lightning cell. But it still can't change the fact that it can't be strengthened through practice. However, although Cell is not a threat to himself, it is a great threat to ordinary people. Even warriors such as Son Goku have a hard time facing Cell. I'm going to track down this raging Cell now, and you're going to destroy this world's Cell. After Dongwu finished speaking, he went out and flew towards the place where humans had recently died. Dongla also flew towards Dr. Gallo's research institute. Not mentioning Dongla, Dongwu came to the place where death finally occurred. Dongwu tried to track Cell through Qi, but to no avail. Although Cell has energy, it is obvious that he can completely hide himself, and he may even disguise himself as a bug. This is troublesome. I didn't expect Cell to be so difficult. Do we really have to wait until Cell shows up? Dongwu frowned. This would make things a bit complicated. Quote. Suddenly, a strong energy was transmitted into Dongwu's induction. It's number 17. Dongwu instantly sensed the energy of number 17. Although number 17 and number 18 are artificial humans, they usually do not emit energy. But when fighting, the energy can still be felt. The other aura is similar to that of Vegeta, Son Goku, Piccolo and even Frieza and his son. It must be Cell. It seems that he has absorbed enough energy and is now attacking number 17. Dongwu breathed a sigh of relief. Cell had absorbed enough power, which meant that he would no longer attack ordinary people. His target will become number 17 and number 18. Cell, let's see where you run this time. But when Dongwu arrived, what he saw was a mess, and even number 16 was damaged. Impossible, how could it happen so fast? Dongwu sensed something was wrong. It stands to reason that Cell should not be so strong now that he can quickly solve the 17 and 16 strings. In the original work, the Shi-7 strings fought Cell in the 10th form for a long time before losing. After transforming into the second form, it only suppressed number 16. How come the 17th and 16th were defeated so quickly? But number 16 is not dead yet. Dongwu sends number 16 to Bulma's house and asks her to repair number 16. And Dongwu searched for traces of Cell again until Dongla came back. How is it? Is Cell destroyed? Dongwu asked. No, I found Dr. Gallo's laboratory, but there is no Cell in it. He has woken up and escaped. Dong Li's character said solemnly. And what's even more terrifying is that she saw her and Dongwu's genes in the design drawings. This means that this Cell will be even more terrifying. I see, no wonder number 17 and number 16 were defeated so easily. Dongwu completely understood that this Cell was not a Cell from other time and space at all, but a Cell from this time and space itself. However, Cell's aura just now contained the auras of Frieza and Kurd. Did another Cell be absorbed? Thinking of this possibility, Dongwu felt a little cold. As if to verify his conjecture, Cell's huge aura shot straight into the sky. A shuddering aura weighs on the bodies and hearts of everyone on the planet. It's the 18th. Dongwu quickly rushed to the place where Cell's breath was, but found that it was already too late. Cell has become a complete body. It means that number 18 has also been absorbed. Dongwu, you are late. I have already matured. I am already the most powerful warrior, number 1 in the universe. Cell looked at Dongwu who came in a hurry, grinned and said with an arrogant smile. There's trouble. Looking at the arrogant Cell and feeling his aura, Dongwu's heart sank. Cell possesses the super gene, and when fully matured, it becomes terrifyingly powerful. Dongwu is gone and absolutely B. Dongwu has a basic combat power of 1 billion, and his strongest transformation is Mystic 2, which has a 400-fold increase. Super Sailing 2 is 100 times, Chuan Super 2 is 200 times, and Mystic is 400 times. With a combat power of 400 billion, there is still no absolute certainty. This shows how terrifying Cell is today. Even compared to Fat Boo, it's not bad. Cell, how did you escape from the institute? According to Dr. Gallo's training plan, you should not have hatched so early. Dongwu narrowed his eyes, looking more serious than ever before. Thanks to you, otherwise it would have taken at least more than 10 years for me to hatch. However, your cells promoted my rapid evolution and allowed me to grow more than 10 years ahead of schedule. Cell looked intoxicated, feeling the powerful power in his body. It's wonderful. With your cells, I can be so powerful. Comparatively speaking, the Cell in other time and space is simply a piece of shit. Thinking of Cell in other time and space, trying to snatch number 17 from him was really overestimating his capabilities. Not only did number 17 fail to grab it, he himself was absorbed by this Cell. Dr. Gallo's is really not simple. Although Dongwu hated it, he had to say that Dr. Gallo was a genius. It is simply unbelievable that such a powerful warrior can be created artificially. But Dongwu has no time to lament now. Cell must be solved quickly, otherwise the problem will be serious. Call. Dongwu directly transformed into the secret game state. Golden red hair, gold inside and green outside, and scarlet eyes. The powerful momentum can compete with Cell. The clouds in the entire sky were divided into two halves under the two momentums. Cell, since you have my cells, then I must take them back. Dongwu said, preparing to attack Cell. But Cell shouted, wait a minute. What kind of transformation are you doing? Why is it not in my database? Moreover, I feel that your cells in my body are genetically different from yours now. Cell asked in confusion and solemnity. Dongwu was not absolutely sure about him, but seeing Dongwu's transformation in Secret Match 2, Cell was no longer sure about winning. Oh, it seems that when Dr. Gallo collected his own cells, he had not yet transformed into Super Saiyan. Meng Wu felt relieved. Although his body has been evolving, he completely broke the shackles and activated the super gene when he transformed into Super Saiyan and entered the 8th level of Dragon Elephant Bo Ruo Gong. Even if there was evolution before, some super genes were activated, but they were definitely very few. In this way, Dongwu felt a lot more relaxed. You don't need to know this, because you have to die. After Dongwu finished speaking, he ignored Cell and launched an attack directly. Cell was not far behind, and the battle between the two began. Cell is very powerful, so powerful that it makes people scared and excited at the same time. If it were Cell in the original work, Dongwu would have no desire to fight at all and would just hand it over to Son Goku and the others, or kill him instantly. But this Cell completely exceeded Dongwu's expectations. Because he has his own cells, which carry a little Super Saiyan gene, plus the power of the cells that he evolved due to Dragon Elephant Bo Ruo Gong. Let this Cell have a strength that is not weaker than Fat Boo. Bang bang bang. The battle between Wu and Cell began, and the battle was very fierce. The two people have the power to destroy the planet with every move they make, and their destructive power is terrifying. Cell's combat effectiveness is very strong, on par with Dongwu. At this time, what we are fighting for is combat consciousness and grasp of the battle situation, and what we are fighting for is the effect of their respective abilities. Drink. The devil penetrates the light and kills. Since Cell also has Piccolo's cells, he can also use Piccolo's moves. The demonic light-killing cannon can be said to be Piccolo's strongest trick. This move has very strong penetrating ability, but the damage area is not large. In the original novel, Raditz died due to this move. Penetrating light-kill cannon. Facing Cell's attack, Dongwu also chose to fight. The penetrating light-killing cannon is similar to the demon penetrating light-killing cannon. It can even be said that 26 was developed on the basis of the demon Guangguang killing cannon. Quote. The two Qigong rays met and emitted a strong explosion. But neither of them cared about this, because the two of them entered high-speed movement. When the Qigong rays met, Cell used the afterimage fist to get behind Dongwu. Many people on Earth know the afterimage fist, it is Master Roshi's move. Cell is very fast, but Dongwu is not slow either. The moment Cell moves, Dongwu also moves. Go to hell. Cell punched Dongwu, but found something was wrong, there was no entity. Afterimage. Cell felt bad and turned around immediately, but it was too late. Dongwu has come behind him, and a ki blast has been formed in his hand. Hit Cell directly. Smashing like killing cannon. There is a core in Cell's brain, and as long as the core is not destroyed, he will not die. In addition, he has Piccolo cells that can continuously regenerate. As long as it is not killed, even if the body is broken, it can grow back. So Dongwu directly used the crushing light to kill the cannon, trying to directly crush Cell and let him die directly. But Dongwu underestimated Cell. Although he was deceived by Dongwu's afterimage, he reacted very quickly. The moment he realized he had been fooled, he quickly dodged to one side. However, the shattering light cannon still hit Cell, but it only hit one leg and a small part of the body, not even the arm was damaged. Pity. Dongwu secretly regretted that it would be difficult to find such a good opportunity next time. After being deceived this time, Cell couldn't possibly be on guard. If this is a fatal injury to ordinary people, it can only consume a little of Cell's vitality. Ah! Cell screamed in pain and directly opened the distance between him and Dongwu, making it impossible for Wu to take advantage of the victory and pursue it. Dongwu, I didn't expect you to be so strong, stronger than I thought. However, you still can't kill me, and I won't be fooled again. Drink. Cell yelled, and then the shattered half of his body and one leg came out again. The body is complete again. However, there was a slight reduction in chi. It's very weak and you can't feel it if you don't sense it carefully. Piccolo's cells are so useful, otherwise I would be really in danger. But, Cell touched his fists, kicked his legs, and then yelled, I won't give you a chance anymore. Quote. Cell's intact body rushed towards Dongwu again, and Dongwu also hit Cell. The two of them were fighting so selflessly that Dongla next to him couldn't keep up with the rhythm. I didn't expect that what brother said is true. Cell is so scary. Although Dongla is now married to Dongwu, he still calls him brother Dongwu by habit. After all, it has been called for 30 years, how can it be so easy to change? But now is not the time to think about this. Originally, she didn't care about what Dongwu said about Cell, but only now did she realize the horror of Cell. Not to mention Son Goku and others, even if he goes up there, he has no room to intervene. At this time, Piccolo, Vegeta, Son Gohan and the recovered Son Goku, who sensed the battle, rushed over. Seeing the terrifying battle in the sky, everyone was dumbfounded. Even the strongest Piccolo and Son Goku feel insignificant. Vegeta's face was even more gloomy, and his fists were clenched in anger. Both Mengwu and this monster are so strong. His original goal was to defeat Dongwu. He once wanted to challenge Dongwu, but was told that he would only be qualified to challenge if he defeated Kakarot. But now it seems that not to mention defeating Kakarot, even defeating 10 or 100 Kakarot is useless. So strong, it would be great if I could fight against them. The only one who can see such a strong person and still get excited and want to fight is Son Goku. But Piccolo and Luncheon nodded in agreement. Even though Vegeta didn't speak, the burning desire in his eyes still betrayed his heart. Wake up Dongwu, solar flare. Cell raised his hands above his head, and a Qigong bomb emitting dazzling intense light gathered in his hand. However, Dongwu knows solar flare very well, and it can still work if it is taken by surprise. But for using it so blatantly, is Dongwu a fool? Dongwu came to Cell the moment Cell used sunbathing and kicked Cell in the face. You were fooled, ha ha ha. However, the attacked Cell did not scream, but instead laughed proudly. Dongwu immediately felt something was wrong, because his limbs were actually being pulled by someone. Little Cell. Dongwu's face changed and instantly became gloomy. I forgot that Cell has this trick. In the original Cell game, Cell once released 7 small cells from its tail. He tortured Vegeta and his group to no avail. Little Cell looks small, but his strength is very good. He has almost 1/5 of Cell's combat power. This is inferred, because of course Vegeta, Son Goku and others have undergone a round of training and have strength that surpasses number 17 and number 18. Which means it must be more than 700 million. But he was still abused by Little Cell. The Cell had almost 5 billion combat power at that time, so it is speculated that the small Cell has about 1 billion, which is 1/5 of the combat power. Oops. Dongwu's face turned ugly. Although the Little Cell's combat power is far inferior to his own, he can kill him in an instant. But if the four of them held down their hands and feet together, he would waste a little time. But this little time is enough for Cell and Dongwu. Sure enough, Cell took action. Destructo Disc. This is Krillin's unique skill, which can ignore the gap in combat power and claims that nothing is indestructible. In the original work, Krillin, with a fighting strength of more than 10,000, once cut off the tail of Frieza, who had a fighting strength of more than 100 million. Destructo Disc is a unique technique developed by Kling with extremely powerful cutting ability. It can even ignore the combat power, and no one can force this move. Cell and other force transfers are original animations, not the original comics of Uncle Sai. Now that Cell is using this trick on Dongwu, it is definitely very insidious. Brush. Destructo Disc is like cutting tofu with a knife, it goes by in a flash. Dongwu's powerful body was split into two in an instant. Dongwu, even if you are strong, you are no match for me, Cell. As a Saiyan, if your body is split into two, you will definitely die. Cell said mockingly. Dongla watched Dongwu being cut off and was heartbroken. Instantly transformed into Super Saiyan 2, and blasted a Qigong bomb directly towards a small cell. Dong Li's basic combat power of 800 million, coupled with an increase of more than 200 times, has a combat power of 80 billion. But Little Cell is not simple either. Cell has 1/5 of its combat power, which is no worse than Tongla. Hey. Little Cell smiled and let go of Dongwu to meet Dong Li's challenge. Boom boom boom. One of the Little Cells fought with Dongla, while the remaining Little Cells and Cells watched from the side without any intention of helping, obviously trusting the Little Cells. Hoo ho ho. Even Dongwu was killed by me. Who else in the universe is my opponent? Son Goku, Vegeta and Piccolo, do you still want to resist? The corners of Cell's mouth rose, showing a domineering aura. Looking at Son Goku, Vegeta and Piccolo, they had indifferent expressions on their faces. As for Master Roshi, Krillin and Tien Shinhan, they were simply ignored by Cell. Although the three of them all have hundreds of thousands of combat power, in his eyes they are almost as good as none. Really, Cell, you are too confident. Do you think you are the only one who can regenerate? Dongwu's voice sounded behind Cell, and then he saw Dongwu's two-part body approaching each other, and then the light merged together and became a whole again. Even the fairy beans were not used, and he returned to normal immediately. Under normal circumstances, Dongwu takes fairy beans directly and will not recover on his own. Because this will consume a certain amount of vitality. Although it does not have a big impact, it is still consumed. However, this time, Dongwu chose to recover on his own. He acquired this ability when he was at the 8th level of Longxiang Boruo Gong, but he never had a use for it. Now that he has finally used it for the first time, Dongwu feels like he is Saiyan's version of Majin Buu, infinitely restored to near immortality. What? How is it possible? How could Saiyan have such ability? Cell's eyes almost popped out of his head and he shouted in disbelief. He knows Saiyan's characteristics very well, because he has several Saiyan cell genes in his body. However, no Saiyan cells have this ability. It's no wonder that Cell doesn't believe it, because Saiyan is not much different from ordinary humans except for his good physical fitness, strong combat effectiveness, huge potential, and other abilities related to combat effectiveness such as enhanced combat effectiveness after recovering from serious injuries. Without the ability to recover, an injury like a severed body would result in death. That's why Cell was so happy and confident just now. But one thing he didn't know was that when Dongwu transformed into Super Saiyan, he broke through the 8th level of Longxiang Boruo Gong. The 8th level Dragon Elephant Boruo Gong is given to Dongwu, which has stronger recovery power than Piccolo and is almost equal to Majin Buu's recovery power. Cell, although you have my cells, you still know too little about me. I will give them to you in the same way, and I will not give you another chance. After Dongwu finished speaking, he came directly to the Little Cell, punching one to death and kicking the other to pieces. In an instant, the 4 Little Cells were killed by Dong Wuquan. Even the Little Cell, who had an inseparable fight with Dongla, could not escape the fate of being killed instantly. Now all the little things in the way are dead, and the next step is a battle between the two of us. Dongwu killed all the small cells and launched a direct attack on the cells. The powerful force and indomitable momentum made Dongwu feel like a god descending to earth. Let Cell be careful. Even if there are only 2 of us left, I will not lose to you. Dongwu, either you die or I die today. Cell also showed no signs of weakness. His powerful and complex aura soared into the sky, confronting Dongwu tit for tat. The extremely rapid movement made it difficult to see the movement clearly, and all one could see was bursts of flashes of light streaking across the sky. Boom boom boom. The battle between Cell and Dongwu started again, with neither side giving in. Powerful power and lightning speed compete with each other in the sky. Almost no one can take advantage of it, so it is very appropriate to describe it as half a catty. In ancient times, one catty was equal to 16 tails. So half a catty weighs the same as 8 tails. In fact, Dongwu really wants to use space hiding, using space-time energy to hide in space, and space-time distortion. But Dongwu has scruples, fearing that Cell will learn from him, and it will be very difficult to kill Cell. It's not impossible. In the original book, when Cell self-destructed, it was because Son Goku used instant transmission to take him away. After the reply, the Cell learns instant transmission. Therefore, Dongwu has been restrained and will not use it until he has a chance to kill with one hit. Kamehameha. Cell seized an opportunity and directly used Kamehameha in an attempt to severely injure Dongwu. This is a trick developed by Master Roshi, but it was carried forward and further improved in the hands of Son Goku. It can be said that the power is very impressive. In the original work, Son Goku used this move many times to turn defeat into victory. But Dongwu is not a waste either. He turns around and uses his own unique skills to fight against Cell. Gravity Light Kill Cannon. The shiny ki blast rushed out of Dongwu's hand directly towards Cell and Kamehameha. Kamehameha Wave and Gravity Light Cannon are both artifacts against waves. In the original book, Son Goku and Son Gohan used this move against waves and almost never lost. Dongwu's Gravity Light Killing Cannon was also developed on the basis of Kamehameha. In addition to Kamehameha's continuous properties, it also has a mountain-like oppressiveness. The green is better than the blue and becomes more powerful. The Kamehameha and the Gravity Light Kill Cannon collided together, making a dull sound like the collision of an ordinary high-speed train. Shwashwashua. Both Kamehameha and Gravity Light Kill Cannon are continuous outputs. A steady stream of energy pours out from Cell and Dongwu, adding ki blast from their palms. Waves of shock waves spread from the two people's ki blast, making the surroundings exude a dangerous atmosphere. How Mono, please stay away. Their strength is too strong and the aftermath will be very dangerous to us. Piccolo was always very wise and decisive. After alerting everyone, he took the lead in retreating several thousand meters. This is one of the reasons why Dongwu is very optimistic about Piccolo. He has a keen sense of combat, is decisive and wise. Other Son Goku and others also quickly retreated because they also felt the danger. The only one who was still in the same place was Dongla. One is that she is powerful and not afraid of the aftermath of the battle. The other is that she cares too much about Dongwu and is reluctant to leave. Ha! The two people roared at the same time, and the powerful Qigong pillar strengthened again. The opposing point in the middle begins to expand. Cell and Dongwu's fighting power was so strong that they tried their best to fight with ki blast. Although there was no direct attack on the planet, the entire Earth was still trembling in the battle between the two people. The ground where the two of them were fighting began to gradually crack. Dongwu, I am the strongest warrior and the most perfect artificial human. Please give me enlightenment. Cell's chi is getting stronger and stronger, and the white Qigong pillar emits a strong light. Humph, we haven't decided who won or lost yet. The corners of Dongwu's mouth rose, becoming more and more confident. Because of his super physique, he found that his fighting ability became stronger and stronger. Although the improved combat effectiveness is not much compared to the current strength. But as time goes by, this advantage will become bigger and bigger, and eventually turn into a victory. And the most important point is that Dongwu, with his super physique, will not get tired or run out of energy. Although the output of Saiyan's transformation is higher than that of Xuanchao Saiyan's physical strength and energy recovery rate, it cannot truly never tire out like Xuanchao's transformation. But at least the endurance is better than that of Cell. He doesn't have the infinite energy characteristics of number 17 and number 18. Drink. Cell looked at Dongwu's smile and stopped talking. He just tried his best to maintain the output of Turtle Faction Ki Blast. Then come on. Dongwu didn't give in, and the gravity light kill cannon kept confronting the Kamehameha wave. And because of the increase in Dongwu's strength, he slowly moved in the direction of Cell. However, this speed is very slow, and the white spots are like a snail crawling. I do not believe, Cell roared, with anger and disbelief in his eyes. Although the two people's ki blast moved towards them very slowly, it showed that they were now at a disadvantage. How does Cell, who considers himself number one in the universe, accept this? Aha! The veins on Cell's head, I don't know if cells are blue or pulsing, and he is obviously holding his breath. At this time, it is just a forced breath, plus its own output. Cell, it's almost time to finish. Dongwu shouted loudly, and his originally well-proportioned figure suddenly swelled. This is what Dongwu just thought of. Vegeta once defeated Cooler in this way. It is said that super expanding the body can enhance combat effectiveness. Although Vegeta was Super Saiyan at the time, Chuan Chao had this ability. However, it does not mean that Super 2 cannot change. It's just CG. However, this transformation is very harmful to the body and affects the speed, so this transformation is generally not chosen. I can also expand my muscles, drink. Cell roared angrily and grew in size. Although this transformation has no advantage in combat, it is indeed an advantage in the battle. Cell saw Dongwu transform, and Cell, who was worried about suffering a loss, also quickly transformed. What I'm waiting for is your transformation. The corners of Dongwu's mouth curled up, revealing a knowing smile. His plan succeeded, because he knew that Cell could undergo this kind of expansion transformation. In the original work, Cell was beaten by Son Gohan and was unable to fight back. Even though he knew it was flawed, he still underwent this transformation. I saw Dongwu suddenly exerting force, blowing out the last breath of energy, temporarily withstanding Cell's attack. He quickly retracted his expansion and transformation, and then quickly moved to Cell. Cell was shocked and was about to change back, but Dongwu's ability was activated. Time warp. Dongwu was waiting for this opportunity, using time distortion to surprise him and kill him with one hit. Now Cell's enlarged and inflexible body gave him this opportunity. Smashing light kill cannon. Dongwu came behind Cell and took advantage of the time difference caused by time distortion. While Cell was still at this time, Dongwu had already arrived at his 0.05 second mark. A crushing light cannon hit Cell directly. Impossible. Ah! Cell screamed in horror, but was helpless and watched helplessly as the shattering light-killing cannon overwhelmed him. Then the body was shattered and annihilated under the attack of the crushing light-killing cannon. It can be said that this is a trap set by Dongwu, just waiting for Cell to get in. He deliberately seduced Cell for this opportunity. If Cell didn't expand and transform, he might not be able to defeat Cell so quickly. But suddenly Dongwu was stunned, because he saw that there was still a trace of flesh and blood in Cell. Dongwu was shocked. Couldn't this kill Cell? If a lightning cell appeared like in the original work, Dongwu said that there might be nothing he could do. Dongwu quickly approached what was left of Cell, the strange lump of meat, and found that Cell's breath was gone. But this ball of fleshy paste is still active and does not annihilate and die like other cells. Curious, Dongwu reached out to pick up the flesh and blood, but something horrified him happened. This strange mass of flesh and blood quickly penetrated into Dongwu's body like water flowing into sand. What the hell is this? Dongwu screamed and couldn't get rid of it. He watched the flesh and blood infiltrate, but Dongwu didn't feel any discomfort. On the contrary, he felt that his body was lighter and more rounded than before. However, a strange mass of flesh and blood entered his body. Dongwu said that he couldn't calm down, and he might not be able to sleep until he figured it out. There are a lot of black technologies, black magic and weird things in the Dragon Ball world. Dongwu didn't dare to relax until he figured it out. Lele, use Dragon Ball to restore the Earth to its original state, including those who were killed. Dongwu said, quickly fly home. He must figure out what it is. If it is something controlling, it will be great fun. Ignoring Son Goku and others, Dongwu quickly entered the gravity room after arriving home, not letting anyone in. He began to examine his own abnormalities, including his strength and mind. Just looking for that thing. Soon Dongwu discovered something strange. The mass had completely merged with his body. What surprised Dongwu even more was that his supercells and Saiyan cells began to infiltrate each other, from being clearly arranged to one next to the other. Just like the watermelon and sesame seeds in two baskets, no one was in the way of the other. But now it's like a mixture of the two, and it's more even. Is this the secret of Cell's ability to harmonize so many cells? Or the catalyst that promotes cell fusion? Dongwu did not dare to be careless, so he took out some blood and began to study it. After 5 days of sleepless observation, Dongwu finally discovered the secret, a secret that made Dongwu ecstatic. Dongwu let out a sigh of relief and relaxed completely. I see, no wonder you confuse with me, Dongwu said to himself and sat down on the ground. Through observation, Dongwu discovered that those special cells in Dongwu's blood slowly deformed and differentiated. Eventually it becomes Saiyan cells and Super Saiyan cells. Now Dongwu understood that these cells were cultured from his own cells. It's just that when cultivating cell, Dr. Gallo cultivated it into this special cell, but the genes inside it did not change. You must know that all cells in the human body are exactly the same at the beginning, stem cells. At the beginning, everyone is just a fertilized egg, which is also the most primitive stem cell. Then through continuous development, different cells are gradually formed to form different organs of the human body. In other words, cells will undergo different changes in different environments. And this group of special cells are the mutable cells produced by Dr. Gallo through a special method. It has powerful fusion capabilities and adjustment functions. Chenshu suspected that the reason why cell could fuse so many cells was related to this group of cells. Although the cell in the original work does not have its own cells, it must have replaced this part of itself with other cells and cultured them into cells with the same function. Most likely, it's Vegeta or Son Goku's. Judging from Cell's performance, although he looks like a bug and Piccolo, he is definitely Saiyan as the main body. Because after being seriously injured, he can enhance his combat power and transform into a lightning cell. This is an ability that even half-blood Saiyans rarely have. However, there are actually two types of cells, Xuanchao and Saiyan, coexisting in my body. I thought I had completely transformed into a super harmful cell. Dongwu frowned, he really didn't know this. If he hadn't observed and studied these special cells this time, he really didn't know. However, the two cells are actually genetically identical, except that some have activated Super Saiyan genes, and some also exhibit Saiyan characteristics. In order to verify Super Saiyan cells and Saiyan cells, Wu drew blood in Super Saiyan, Xuanchao and Misai states respectively. Found a very special. In the Xuanchao state, his cells will completely transform into Xuanchao Saiyan cells. In Super Saiyan state, cells will completely transform into normal Saiyan cells. In the secret state, cells will combine with each other but not fuse together. This is interesting. There is this state that is similar to fusion but not fusion. But Dongwu has a feeling that his current level of evolution is not enough. If you can make the Xuanchao and Saiyan cells in the secret state become one form instead of combining two cells, then his secret evil will be truly complete. At that time, his normal state will not have two cells, Xuanchao and Saiyan, but only one special state, secret cell state. And it can be transformed into super cells and Saiyan cells when needed. That's right, that's how it should be. Dongwu figured something out and walked out of the gravity chamber in a good mood. But the scene outside surprised Dongwu, because the home was decorated with joy. We're getting married. This was the only thought that flashed in Dongwu's mind. It was originally decided that Parrot and Celia would get married when they came back, but it was delayed because of the android and Cell. Now that the trouble is solved, marriage is naturally on the agenda. But shouldn't you discuss it with yourself? What the hell is it that you start making arrangements without knowing? Do you still have human rights? But no matter how much he complained, it was useless. It was obvious that he had been excluded from the speech. Xiao Wu, come here, I have something to tell you. The only one who can talk to Dongwu like this is Zilia. It's Parrot, usually called Dongwu's full name. And he won't say anything to himself. Nodding, Ziwu followed Shisha and pushed to the side. Son, I am really yours. Mom is proud of you. Mom brought this back from an alien planet and will give it to my wife later. Zilia said, giving Dongwu 2 combat uniforms. Not to mention, the quality is really good. But what the hell is giving a combat uniform as a wedding gift? Dongwu smiled bitterly and could only say that Zilia deserves to be a Saiyan. And more importantly, why would you give 2 pieces to your daughter-in-law? Dongwu felt that my mother was a little confused. Dongwu, congratulations, you are finally getting married. Son Goku congratulated Dongwu with a smile on his face. But what does your weird expression of gloating and sympathy mean? Not only him, but Piccolo, Tien Shinhan, Krillin and Vegeta who came after him all had smiles on their faces. But no matter how you look at it, it's very strange and obviously has an inexplicable meaning. Dongwu was blinded and held down while being forced to put on a wedding dress. Perhaps because 7 Dragon Ball is set in Japan, the wedding dress turned out to be a bright red robe and Tang suit, a real costume from the Tang dynasty, not today's button-down Tang suit. *TT. You must know that Xiaoriguo can always regard itself as the authentic descendant of the Tang dynasty. The auspicious time has come, and the bride and groom are invited. Dongwu didn't know what was going on, and the wedding started. But Dongwu felt something was wrong. Wasn't there still a process of welcoming the bride and groom? Why was it gone? According to Chinese tradition, there are many steps ahead, so why were they all omitted? But that's not important. If you omit it, just omit it, and it will save you a lot of trouble. But when Dongwu saw the bride, he almost peed with fright. Because the bride actually has 2, Dongla and number 18. Dongwu finally understood why everyone had a weird expression. Especially Son Goku. He is very temperamental, being dealt with by his 2 wives at home. Now seeing that Dongwu has married 2 people, he finally has a brother in distress, no wonder he has that expression. It's life, life, life. Dongwu, who didn't change his expression even if the sky fell, was now so frightened that his 2 legs trembled. Although he also had a heart to hug everyone, he had decided to give up since seeing Dongli's sad tears. However, now I want to marry 2 more. You haven't discussed it with him yet. Did you ask for my permission? Although I did feel a little happy in my heart. However, the tragic life of Son Goku comes to mind. Dongwu feels that the blessing of all people is not necessarily a good thing. But no matter what, things are already like this, so we can only bite the bullet and go on. Fortunately, Cassio and Lanchi were nearby, and Poppy and Tillian were also wearing red robes. He feels a little more confident and will be really excited about getting married for the first time. After a series of procedures, Dongwu announced that she was officially married and entered the happy tomb of love. Moreover, he married 2 people at once, taking all the blessings from everyone. I also came here on the 17th and 16th, but left after the wedding. In the bridal chamber, only Dongwu, Dongla and number 18 were left. That, Dongwu was anxious to say something, but Dongla threw off the hijab on his head. Don't be too serious, just use hijab here. After all, there is a difference between fiction and reality. Then looked at Dongwu fiercely. You got your wish this time, but if you dare to provoke other women again, I will definitely kill you. HMPH. It can be seen that Dongla still has a lot of resentment, but he also accepted the number 18. Good. Dongwu agreed decisively, and then the ice on their faces melted, revealing charming smiles. When I got up, I found that my 2 younger brothers and sisters had already gotten up, and Parrot and Celia were also busy packing their things. This is what Dongwu told them, and they will go to Saiyan Star after the wedding. It seems that they can't wait any longer. Dongwu said hello to everyone and went to find Klin, Master Roshi and others. The first was Master Roshi, who had no worries and agreed directly. Tien Shinhan and Dumplings were fine, but Klin refused for the time being. The reason is that he is also getting married and watched Dongwu marry Dongla and number 18. He and Marin couldn't help it anymore and chose to get married. It has to be said that money is a good thing in any world. In the original work, Marin ran away with a rich man. In this world, Klin is worth a lot of money, and it is much higher than in the original work. Marin actually followed Colin until they got married. However, Dongwu felt that Klin would not go to Saiyan Star after marriage. In the original book, after he got married, he did not practice spiritual practice for a long time and devoted himself wholeheartedly to his family. It wasn't until Dragon Ball Super that I picked up the martial arts that had been neglected for many years. Similar to Son Gohan, except that one was forced to study by his mother, and the other chose to give up for the sake of his family. When number 16 and number 17 were found later, they did not agree at first. But they only agreed when Dongwu promised to transport the precious Dongwu on this small island to Saiyan Star, and no one would poach it. Sometimes Dongwu doesn't understand why artificial humans created as killing machines actually work hard to protect animals. Especially number 16, who showed his love for animals in the original work. When everything was ready, Dongwu left the Earth with his family, Master Roshi, Tien Shinhan, Dumplings, number 16 and number 17, heading for Star Saiyan. Of course, they took Dongwu's instant transmission and went directly there. Dongwu doesn't have time to waste on the road. He shoulders the heavy responsibility of revitalizing Saiyan. However, he still kept his promise and brought a Saiyan back to Earth. Let him take a spaceship with various animals and slowly rush to Saiyan Star. Broly, I give you a task. Dongwu called Broly over and said to him. What's the matter? Don't come to me about education. Broly got vaccinated first, and he was really scared. But Dongwu doesn't count on this guy who is all about muscles. His idea is very simple. To revitalize Saiyan, the first thing to solve is the population problem. There are only a few hundred Saiyans in Saiyan Stars now, which is too few. It can't even be called a nation anymore. So, the first priority is to increase the number of Saiyan. How to increase it? Give birth to a child. The task assigned to him by Dongwu was to promote the family planning policy. But it's not about having fewer children, but more births. A birth plan that plans to increase the number of Saiyans, family planning for short. How to promote it? If Broly was asked to think of a way, he would dare to directly force others to get married and have children. But this definitely won't work, so what should we do? Propaganda slogan. Earth China is doing very well. What? Have fewer children and better health for a happy life. Only give birth to a good country to support the elderly. Give birth to boys and girls alike, and they will continue the family line. Etc., etc. You can do the same thing on the Saiyan planet, but the slogans need to be changed. How many lives can a genius produce? How can one of them beat the others? And other slogans that encourage biological nature. In addition, for every child you give birth to, you can receive one more year of martial arts instruction and other measures to reward fertility. It's not enough for Dongwu. These guys with brains and muscles will not go all out to create people. Anyway, Saiyan doesn't have the pressure of not being able to raise children, not being able to afford a house, or the pressure of going to school. Since there is no pressure, you can also get rewards. Coupled with the overwhelming publicity, why don't they give birth? Dongwu believes that within 10 years, the number of Saiyan will be at least 5 times what it is now. You should be qualified for these jobs, right? Dongwu looked at Broly warningly, as if Broly would get a severe beating if he said no. Helplessly, Broly had no choice but to nod, indicating that he was competent. Of course, he didn't think it was difficult. Very good, now that the birth plan is in place, I will leave the continuity to you, Teacher Wu Tian. Dongwu nodded and looked at Master Roshi and his party, and said with a smile. After solving Saiyan's fertility problem, the issue of natural education is the most important. After all, he does not want to create another brutal race like Planet Vegeta. But Dongwu is not worried in this regard. Teachers from Earth are fully capable of doing the job. Whether it is martial arts or personality building, this group of warriors from Earth are capable. After all, they are all true martial artists and kind-hearted people. Okay, if that's the case, let's take action. Dongwu clapped his hands and officially finalized the plan. Next comes the construction in full swing. I have to say that Dongwu's method worked very well. Saiyan's enthusiasm for having children was unprecedentedly high, and nearly 200 children were born in the first year. Coupled with the dozens of Saiyans who have returned from the universe one after another, the Saiyan Star now has 1,000 people. Even Dongla, number 18, Lan Chi and Ti Lien could not bear it and gave birth to a baby. It can be regarded as a guide for all Saiyans. What made Dongwu even more speechless was that Parrot and Zelia had another child. The youngest guy is a boy, the same age as his niece and nephew. It's so confusing and embarrassing. At the same time, Dongwu also had to admire that Saiyan is indeed a strong nation. Parrot and Celia are both in their early 50s, and they can still have children. But the two of them didn't take it seriously, so what else could they say? This is in response to your policy, to have more children will produce geniuses. Dongwu's mother was speechless and speechless. Dongwu wants to say, am I not a genius enough? Casio and Bobby are not bad either. Now their 4 biological children, except Dongyuk, have all transformed into Super Saiyan. Not satisfied yet, what kind of genius do you want? But since they want it, Dongwu has no reason to object, right? It just increases the number of Saiyan. Dongwu's 2 children were named Gil and Gino. There is a girl and a boy, the girl is Dong Lesheng and the sister is named Jill. The daughter was born on the 18th and the younger brother was named Gino. This was the name chosen by Zilia, but Dongwu objected to it to no avail. As for Dongwu's youngest brother, who is named Giles, Dongwu was stunned. Isn't this his own Saiyan's name? Why did he name his younger brother Shenjiang? Celia said, since you don't call me this name anymore, then give it to your younger brother. Dongwu surrendered again and reluctantly agreed. However, this younger brother is indeed worthy of his name. He was born with 1003 combat powers, which was stronger than Vegeta's birth in the 3rd wave. I don't know if my parents took the wrong medicine, but they gave birth to several children in a row with good talents. But it's far behind Gil and Genobi, because these 2 little guys were born with a fighting strength of 50,000. It almost scared a group of people to death. This is even better than when Brawly, the Super Saiyan, was born. Dongwu estimates that this is related to the high degree of evolution of his body. Although neither of the 2 little guys are Chuan Chao, their physiques are terrifyingly strong. And their births are different from those of ordinary Saiyan children. They all have golden red hair. Saiyans usually have black hair, not counting those of mixed race. In terms of education, because of Master Roshi and others, the people on Saiyan planet have changed a lot. Both his mental outlook and combat effectiveness have changed a lot. At first, Saiyan was unconvinced, but after being tortured several times by Master Roshi, Tien Shinhan, number 16, number 17, and even Dumpling, no one made trouble anymore. Occasionally Raditz and Turles will be guest lecturers, so the effect is pretty good. Just like, under the policies of Dongwu and the education of Master Roshi and others, Saiyan is developing prosperously. It was not until 7 years later that a piece of news broke the tranquility between Dongwu and Saiyan Star. Majin Buu is resurrected and Frieza appears. Frieza. Dongwu doesn't care much about Majin Buu, but he takes Frieza very seriously. He doesn't know whether the world he lives in will be discovered in the future or develop into GT. But he valued Frieza very much. But because Frieza has not appeared since Namek failed, Dongwu gave up because there was no news about him. It has been more than 10 years now. I don't know how far I have grown. Although most frozen demons cannot practice to increase their strength, they can only increase with age. But Cooler and Frieza are obviously exceptions. Because they were all transformed by Layla. Frieza and Majin Buu appear together, which is definitely not normal. Dongwu thought of Layla and Babidi who escaped more than 9 years ago, because only Babidi knew the spell to unblock Majin Buu. Frieza was cultivated by Layla, so Frieza's appearance is probably related to Layla. Dongwu is deeply afraid of Layla. Because this goddess is a very paranoid person who pursues power after being defeated by Majin Buu. In the theatrical version, he also cultivated an extremely terrifying Jaiko, a monster with Super Sai 5 fighting power. Super 4 Son Gohan plus Super 4 Vegeta and Trunks were all beaten to the point where they were unable to fight back. This shows Jaiko's terror and Lila's ability. But it's useless to think like this now. Let's take a look at the situation of Frieza and Majin Buu first. Dongwu instant transmission came to the Earth, and unexpectedly encountered Vegeta fighting Fat Buu. Fat Buu's combat power is similar to that of Cell a few years ago, with combat power around 400 billion. Maybe Majin Buu is a little stronger, but not much. Vegeta's strength has also grown rapidly in recent years, reaching the peak of 26 Super League 2. The combat power after transformation is about 300 billion. In other words, in the past few years, Vegeta's basic combat power has increased to 300 billion. This is quite scary, and I must have worked hard. And it is very likely that like the original work, he will use high-intensity training and pressure to squeeze his potential as much as possible. Only then could there be such a terrifying improvement. It can be said that his strength has improved faster than Dongwu in previous years. because Dongwu never uses this method for fear of damaging his foundation and potential. However, the gap between 300 billion and 400 billion is still huge. Coupled with Majin Buu's near immortality, Vegeta had a tough time fighting. His whole body was covered in scars and he could hardly hold on anymore. Dongwu kicked Majin Buu away and saved Vegeta. "Are you okay?" Although Dongwu was asking Vegeta, his eyes didn't look at Vegeta at all. Because his eyes were staring closely at a figure behind Majin Buu. This figure was stooped, like an old man. The face shape is more like an insect, with two fleshy tendrils at the corners of the mouth. The whole image looks very disgusting against the backdrop of the withered yellow skin. "Babidi, I didn't expect you to come back," Dongwu said to Babidi. Although Dongwu had already guessed that this incident was related to Babidi and Layla, when he saw Babidi with his own eyes. I really don't know whether to say they are confident or bold. Maybe, Majin Buu gave them the courage to grow up. "Dongwu, don't be arrogant. Now that my Buu has been resurrected, no one is Buu's opponent. I will kill you all." Hearing Dongwu calling him, Babidi was so frightened that he hid behind Majin Buu. But seeing Majin Buu in front of him, Babidi felt confident again. Maybe he felt that his reaction just now was a bit embarrassing, so he jumped out and arrogantly wanted to kill Dongwu. Dongwu didn't pay attention to Babidi's clamor at all. All he wanted to know was where Layla and Frieza were. So Dongwu shook his head and said contemptuously, "I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Now you just need to tell me where Layla and Frieza are, and I will let you go. Otherwise, I will destroy you now. Don't think that with Majin Buu, you can sit back and relax. I will kill you. 10 Majin Buu are useless." This sentence stimulated Babidi. In his heart, Majin Buu was the strongest. Back then, his father, Babidi, relied on Majin Buu to dominate the universe. Even Supreme Kai, several were killed by Majin Buu. If Buu hadn't been out of control later, Babidi would have sealed Majin Buu. The entire universe has been captured by Majin Buu a long time ago. What Supreme Kai? He has been killed a long time ago. It was because Babidi sealed Majin Buu that Supreme Kai took the opportunity to kill him. So he has 100% confidence in Majin Buu. Therefore, he felt that Dongwu's threat was a humiliation. "How dare you look down on my Buu? Buu, kill him quickly." Babidi looked at Dongwu angrily, pointed at him and ordered Majin Buu. But at this time, Fat Buu was very dissatisfied with his order, and his eyes showed a dangerous light. Obviously, he planned to kill Babidi. He didn't want to be controlled. However, he was also afraid of being sealed again, so he didn't take action immediately. It seems that he is also looking for opportunities. Regarding Babidi's non-cooperation, Dongwu did not have any fluctuations. Since he has so much confidence in Majin Buu, let him use practical actions to tell him that what he said is not a lie. In that case, Babidi, are you ready? After Dongwu finished speaking, he immediately came to Babidi's side. Majin Buu and Babidi couldn't react at all, and Babidi had already been carried back by the neck. "How is it? I said I would kill you, even a Majin Buu is useless. Can I say it now?" Dongwu took a fancy to Babidi with a smile, and there was no murderous intent in his eyes other than teasing. But it made Babidi feel cold all over because he found that Dongwu was even more powerful than he had been a few years ago. No, it's not more powerful. It was so terrifying that Majin Buu couldn't even react to his actions. In other words, killing himself is really like squeezing an ant to death. This discovery made Babidi completely despair. I said, Lady Layla took Frieza to the Saiyan planet. He asked me to kill all the Saiyans here. If Supreme Kai appears, kill them too, so that she can rule the world. Quote. Babidi trembled and told the whole incident. Includes Layla's plan and implementation steps. Oh, it seems that Layla also knows the terror and weakness of gods of destruction, and wants to kill Supreme Kai to plunge gods of destruction into death. In this way, with the help of Majin Buu and Frieza, she really has a chance to rule the world. Dongwu said disdainfully. Regarding Layla's plan, he could only say that it was too naive. Not to mention whether Majin Buu can kill Supreme Kai and all Saiyan. Just let her succeed. She thinks she can rule the world with Majin Buu and Frieza. Unless Frieza is in golden form now, there is no chance. Okay, if that's the case, then you can take Majin Buu and get out. I want to see what Layla and Frieza are capable of and dare to go to Saiyan Star to cause trouble. Dongwu waved Babidi away and asked Majin Buu throw it away. Dongwu did this on purpose. Babidi flew towards Majin Buu involuntarily, and saw Majin Buu stretching out his hands. Babidi was about to breathe a sigh of relief. But he found that his neck was being pinched by Majin Buu. You can't pronounce the spell to seal me now, can you? Nasty reptile. Majin Buu stuck out his tongue and made a face at him. Then, as Babidi watched in horror, Majin Buu snapped his neck. A dark mage, a conspirator with ambitions to rule the universe, was killed in this way. Majin Buu is definitely a very difficult opponent. Not only is he powerful, but the key is that he is difficult to kill. If he can't be beaten to ashes in one go, he can recover quickly as long as there is one cell left. In the original work, he was beaten to pieces many times, but he was still alive and kicking. If it were another opponent, even Cell would be dead. Because Cell has a core in his brain, he will die if the core is broken. However, Majin Buu does not follow common sense. As long as there is one cell, it will not die. The fat Majin Buu at the beginning has both good and evil sides, and is like a child. In the original work, Majin Buu was angry because the puppy and Satan were shot and injured by hooligans one after another, so he released the evil part and formed Black Buu. That's the evil part, and takes away most of the power. What's left is the pure, kind-hearted Fat Buu. At this time, it was Fat Buu who had both good and evil sides. Dongwu looked at him and thought about whether to eliminate him directly. But Vegeta refused to admit defeat and wanted to continue fighting Buu. Dongwu, give him to me. Vegeta said very seriously. You are no match for him. Dongwu was very straightforward, which can be seen from his performance just now. But Vegeta shook his head, very confident. Dongwu is curious, does this guy have any tricks up his sleeve? Show it if you have any cards, otherwise you will not be a match for him with your fighting power. And if he absorbs you, he will be stronger. I can't just watch him become more powerful and uncontrollable. Dongwu said it clearly, and the implication was also clear. If Vegeta is confident, he can let Vegeta solve it. If not, Dongwu will take action to solve it himself. But at this moment, several people came to Wu. It's East King Kai, Jebet, Son Goku and Son Gohan. East King Kai looked at Dongwu with an expression of shock and satisfaction. It is indeed the power of God, and its level is no lower than mine. The king of East Kai was expressionless and pretended to be serious, but there was a turmoil in his heart. Because this is the first mortal to master true divine power. Although he had known about it before, he had never seen it with his own eyes, so the surprise was far less intense. However, as a true god with complete divine power, he naturally saw the flaws and incompleteness of Dongwu's divine power. This kind of divine power seems to be forcibly condensed and cannot be perfected. It turns out to be Jebet, so this should be Lord Supreme Kai. There is no need for Dongwu to be polite to Son Goku and Son Gohan. However, he still maintained the most basic respect for East King Kai Shin and did not despise him. Although his power is not worth mentioning compared to his own, he still shoulders the heavy responsibility of creating the planet and guiding life. It can be said that most lives can survive thanks to previous Supreme Kai. Therefore, Dongwu is not rude. Dongwu, if you have the strength, I would like to ask you to deal with Majin Buu, otherwise the entire universe will suffer a huge disaster. East King Kai did not put on airs for Dongwu, nor did he speak to Dongwu in a condescending tone. Because he knew that Dongwu had the qualifications to ignore him. Not only is his combat power stronger than his own, but his divine power level is also no lower than his own. Sir Supreme Kai, if necessary, I will deal with him now. Dongwu did not shirk and said that he could help. But Vegeta and Son Goku were unwilling, especially Son Goku who was clamoring to take action. Sir Supreme Kai, leave Majin Buu to me and Gohan. Son Goku shouted, with expectation in his eyes. Sure enough, the only thing that could make Son Goku submissive was not letting him fight. Although Son Gohan did not speak, the strong fighting spirit in his eyes also showed his innermost feelings. However, with Vegeta still around, how can Son Goku be satisfied? Kakarot, please step aside. It was me and Majin Buu who were fighting just now. Do you want to steal my opponent? Vegeta yelled angrily and looked at Son Goku fiercely, CGBG. As if Son Goku dared to rob him, he would fight with Son Goku first. Son Goku and Vegeta were quarreling fiercely, while Dongwu and Supreme Kai looked helpless next to them and could only smile bitterly. But Majin Buu next to him was angry. His eyes, which had only a slit, now showed murderous intent. Asshole, you dare to look down on me. I will turn you into chocolate and eat you. Majin Buu opened his eyes and stared at Son Goku and Vegeta with a fierce expression. Stop being so arrogant, let Uncle Vegeta come and meet you. When Son Goku was still fighting, Vegeta transformed into Super Saiyan first and rushed towards Majin Buu. Vegeta, you're so cunning. Son Goku stamped his feet angrily and yelled behind him to express his dissatisfaction. Son Gohan can't stand his father. He is too childish. Majin Buu, Uncle Vegeta didn't use his full strength just now. Let's have a showdown next. After Vegeta finished speaking, he began to use his energy with all his strength. For a while, Vegeta's appearance slowly retracted from Super Saiyan 2's, and finally changed back to Saiyan's form. But Dongwu knew it wasn't the case, and that was why Dongwu was surprised. Because this state is basically the mysterious state that Son Gohan showed after his potential was developed by the old Supreme Kai. Dongwu didn't expect that Vegeta would reach this point on his own. In the original book, Vegeta has been chasing Son Goku, so the two people are surprisingly similar in their practice routes. Because he has been walking the same path that Son Goku walked. It is for this reason that although he can keep up with Son Goku, he has never been able to surpass Son Goku. But now, Vegeta is under the influence of Earth's martial arts, Zangia's tens of thousands of years of martial arts experience, and the martial arts that Dongwu spread to Earth. He actually found his own unique route, which impressed Dongwu. Majin Buu, let Uncle Vegeta teach you a lesson. Vegeta laughed loudly, very confident and assertive. The powerful strength allows Vegeta to be so confident. Because when he absorbed the Super Saiyan transformation back into his body and transformed into a mysterious state, his combat power doubled from 300 billion to 600 billion. Has completely surpassed Majin Buu. I'm going to eat you. Majin Buu didn't waste any more nonsense, and directly used the tentacles on his head. I don't know if it's the tentacles or the tail, just think it's the tentacles, to release a purple light. This is the magic of Majin Buu, which can turn people into various foods. Majin Buu is proficient in many kinds of dark magic and white magic, and turning people into food belongs to dark magic. In the original work, healing the puppies and Satan is considered white magic. Turn it into chocolate for me. Majin Buu attacked first. Watching Vegeta transform into a mysterious state, Dongwu knew that there would be no big problem in a short time. However, it will be hard to say when the evil Skinny Buu and Little Ragdoll come out. The evil Skinny Buu will continue to absorb each opponent and become stronger and stronger. Of course, this is not absolute. Majin Buu also has an upper limit for absorbing opponents to increase his strength set in this book, otherwise Majin Buu would have been invincible and his strength may even decrease because he absorbs inappropriate people. The most obvious example is Fat Buu today. Buu was originally much stronger and more evil than he is now. But because he absorbed the Supreme Kai, not only did his body become chubby, but his IQ was also born under the influence of the Supreme Kai. Of course, the strength has dropped by more than one level as a result. There is also Gohan Buu in the original work, who should be the strongest when he absorbed Son Gohan. Even Son Goku transformed into Super Saiyan 3 and was no match for him. Later, because Son Goku and Vegeta used a trick to rescue those who were said to have been absorbed, including Fat Buu. As a result, Majin Buu returned to his most original state, Little Buu, puppet. In the original book, East King Kai Ah Shin said that the original Buu is the most difficult and terrifying, so many netizens think that the little puppet is the strongest. Actually otherwise, the little puppet should be not as strong as Gohan Buu. The obvious comparison is Son Goku. When fighting Gohan Buu, Son Goku from Super Saiyan 3 was no match at all. But when it's the little puppet's turn, it's evenly matched. From this point we can know that Gohan Buu is stronger than the puppet. But because the little puppets are the most original, the purest and the most evil. In addition, East King Kai is afraid of him, so he is said to be the most terrifying. But one thing is clear, the current Fat Buu should be the weakest among all Buu, except the Fat Buu who separated from Evil Buu. So, can Vegeta win if he fights the puppet or Gohan Buu? Dongwu couldn't guess. The purple energy beam shoots at Vegeta, and Fat Buu attempts to turn Vegeta into chocolate. Vegeta, get out of the way, this is a black magic that can turn people into chocolate. East King Kai was shocked and quickly reminded Vegeta. Prevent him from being hit by the light due to carelessness, and he will lose a lot of combat power by then. But Vegeta is not a fool, he took action when he saw Buu making a move. The moment the purple ray arrived, he dodged directly. Fat man, your plan is good. Unfortunately, Uncle Vegeta will not be fooled. Vegeta laughed and rushed towards Majin Buu. Stronger power, faster speed and sharp fighting style than Fat Buu made Fat Buu confused for a moment. Seeing this, Dongwu knew that there would be no big problem for the time being. Next, it's Layla and Frieza's problem. Layla must not be allowed to escape this time. Goku, you have no chance to intervene here for the time being. Do you want to meet a stronger opponent? Dongwu seduced Son Goku. He knew that Son Goku was a martial arts fanatic and a fighting maniac, and he was more excited about fighting than anything else. If there is a strong opponent, he will not refuse. Sure enough, Son Goku's eyes suddenly lit up. I couldn't wait to urge Dongwu to go there quickly. Let's go there quickly, I really want to see the master. My whole body is about to boil. However, Dongwu did not take Son Goku over immediately, and turned to Supreme Kai and said, Shin, you go back to the Supreme Kai world first and take Gohan with you. There is a Supreme Kai sword in your Supreme Kai world. Let Gohan pull it out and destroy it. There will be unexpected surprises. Finally, if anything happens here, contact me immediately. After Dongwu finished speaking, he ignored the dazed Supreme Kai. Use instant transmission directly with Son Goku to reach Saiyan Star. Son Goku also has instant transmission, so there is no need for Dongwu to bring it with him. When he first arrived, Dongwu directly summoned all Saiyans and asked them to leave Saiyan Star first. Only Dongla and Broly are left, allowing them to see the masters, which will be beneficial to their future development. Lila's fighting ability is no longer taken seriously, but Frieza's fighting ability is unknown. However, judging from the fact that Babidi resurrected Majin Buu and still did not dare to neglect Layla, Frieza's current combat power is probably quite terrifying. What Dongwu is most worried about is Frieza transforming into Golden Frieza, which would be terrible. In today's universe, no one is a match for Golden Frieza. Unless, Gods of Destruction Beerus awakens. When all Saiyans left Saiyan Star, Dongwu, Son Goku, Broly and Dongla stayed at Saiyan Star, waiting for the arrival of Lila and Frieza. In fact, Layla can also use instant transmission. Logically speaking, she should have arrived at Saiyan Star long ago. But they haven't come yet, and Dongwu doesn't know what they are doing. However, I can't find them anyway, so I can just wait at Saiyan Star with peace of mind. But I don't know if Broly and Son Goku are born to be enemies. When the two meet, they dislike each other. Son Goku was not only heartless in fighting, but Broly almost turned into a super player when they first met. After that, the two of them stared at each other until they had a fight and finally calmed down temporarily. I have to say that they are indeed the two people who fell in love and killed each other in the original work. Son Goku transformed into Super Saiyan 3 and Broly transformed into Super Saiyan 2, and the fight was evenly matched. Broly said that the increase in Super Series 2 is 200 times, and Son Goku's Super Series 3 increase is 400 times. However, Broly is born with a strong physique and has a higher basic combat power than Son Goku. Therefore, although Son Goku's third Super Saiyan transformation has a higher growth rate, his combat power after transformation is only slightly stronger than Broly's. Coupled with the fact that Broly became more and more courageous as he fought, it ended with Son Goku being too consumed and unable to maintain his third Super Saiyan transformation. At first, Dongwu thought that the growth rate of Super Saiyan 3's transformation was twice that of Super Saiyan 2. It wasn't until Son Goku transformed into Super Saiyan 3 that he realized that the growth rate of Super Saiyan 3 was 4 times that of Super Saiyan 2. However, Son Goku was not convinced even though he lost. The two of them discussed each other whenever they had nothing to do, and their strength grew rapidly. It was not until 3 days later that 3 powerful auras appeared in the sky above Saiyan Star. Two of them are terrifying, and the other is relatively weak. The weakest one is Layla, whom Dongwu is very familiar with. Dongwu didn't recognize the auras of the other two. But one of them has the aura of a frozen demon, probably Frieza. As for the last one, although Dongwu didn't know, he suspected it was Jaiko. Because there is obviously Saiyan component in his breath, and it is very pure. But there are some changes. It should be Jaiko who was cultured and modified using Son Goku's blood genes. Layla, you are finally here. This time, I will never let you run away again. Dongwu's eyes were burning with intense anger. This Layla was so restless. It had only been a few years since he last escaped, but he was causing trouble again with someone. Always thinking about causing chaos in the universe, and then she will rule the world. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.